Good evening, Overwatch fans, and welcome back to the final day of Contenders Trials. It has been a long couple weeks, but many teams are on the cusp of achieving that next step in the path to pro. Starting off one last time in the EMEA division, we are just here to see who truly is the best of the best. Every position is locked, and the top four will be duking it out to see who truly is the top dog. We'll be starting out in the mid-ground, current third place Shoes Money Crew taking on fourth place Old and Bored. And then we will be ending our EMEA division with a battle of the Titans, where we will see New Kings taking on Young and Beautiful, both tied for first position. After today, only one can be the true victor of Contenders Trials. So fasten those seatbelts, folks, because just like Maverick and Goose, we're headed right into the danger zone. My name's Captain Jack, and I'm your play-by-play for the evening, joined by Thibbledork on analyst and Reef and Cinzia on production. Before we get started, I do want to give a special shout-out to a man well known by the Monkey Bubble community, Big Hungry Phil, who was supposed to be casting this match and others this week, but is currently under the weather. So please, folks, blow up the chat. Let them know that we hope that they get better very soon. We love them so much, and we can't wait to see them back on the mic soon. Let's get into the action. Thibble, we're back at it again. Let's get down to business.
And it's good to be back, and especially with two amazing matches here. As mentioned, the top four is settled. These teams are going to Contenders, all four that we are seeing here today, at least for our two matches. But like you mentioned as well, it's all about figuring out your positions here. Going into Contenders, the top four teams, the teams that are already there and waiting, will be able to choose their opponents once they're all settled in. What matters here is seeding effectively, not in the way we traditionally sense it, right? But consider for a moment, dear viewer and Captain Jack, that you are an existing Contenders team looking at this new talent on the rise, and perhaps you're pretty up there. You're a number one, number two seed, and you're trying to figure out who's the weak gazelle in the herd that we could take out with our vicious fangs and claws and such. You might be looking at this match in particular, Shoes Money Crew versus Old and Bored. If Old and Bored manage to 3-0 Shoes Money Crew, they will eclipse them and take the third spot in our overall standings for Trials EMEA. Any other victory or loss, actually, will cement them in that fourth place slot, with Shoes Money Crew holding on to third. So the moment Old and Bored give up a map to Shoes Money Crew, they're locked into fourth. And as such, that kind of singles them out as the weakest team, and I use that in the nicest way possible. They are the fourth seed coming out of Trials. Certainly not a weak team, but
not at all.
The weakest by the numbers. Conversely, our second match of the day, Young and Beautiful versus New Kings, a real star-studded affair. The winner of that takes first place in the whole group and kind of sends a signal to those existing Contenders team and says, hey, maybe you don't want to mess with me. We've got you in Trials, but do you really want to take me on? I don't know about that one, Buster. So that has a lot of stake too, not because of any traditional seeding or brackets or anything like that, but because those Contenders teams can choose who they're going to be up against to start Contenders this month.
Well, folks, let's get right on to it. Third and fourth place, Shoes Money Crew versus Old and Bored are getting ready to set up on our first map of the day, Elios. This will continue on throughout the remainder of our maps as well. Elios will be the first map of the day. And then from there, it's loser's choice to decide how the rest of the day is going to shake out. We might see a back-to-back control, or we might see the rotation of the other map types coming in, as only one can be chosen in the next four positions. We're hoping for an absolute banger right here, folks. So let's go ahead and hit the streets.
We are seeing the Symmetra come out, but Danon swapping onto the Doomfist, his famous favorite hero here against the Mei McCree that we're used to seeing from Old and Bored. Solar on the Mei here instead of a McCree. They're looking to probably have a little extra CC and a little extra burst potential as we get into Ruins on Ilios.
Already we see Sab there on the low ground trying to keep everybody up in the fight as Danon looking to see if they can sand Pure Irish right over the side and is Successful, able to get that D-Mech, and Hades getting the follow-up onto Cappy. Shoes Money Crew ain't here to mess around as they grab control.
Cool guys don't look at mechs falling off of cliffs, or however that turn of phrase is supposed to go. He knew right away that Pure Irish didn't have the booster cooldown, just turned around as cool as could be and just let the sparks fly behind him. You'll love to see it. Danette here with some amazing movement tech and understanding of the hero at a deep level, happy to control this high ground alongside his Zarya and really deny the push and control the angles here as Oldenborg look to recontest.
All right, as we see Danette on that high ground, just ready and raring. Well, was ready and raring to drop down, but is just looking for that cross shot. Doesn't end up finding it, but the Mei wall comes up, separating out Teemo from the rest of the herd, but it looks like they're going to be able to stay up for now. The Meteor Strike going up, looking to see where it is going to land, and it's just going to be used for that retreat as they go ahead and make their way back to the team. We're already up to the 50% mark. Oldenborg need to make a move, and they need to make it soon. But it looks like the first move going to come out from Sab once again as the Deadeye comes out from Cappy there on the high ground, looking to see if they can find anyone with that Deadeye, but going to be unsuccessful nonetheless. Every member of the team is currently still up as the Blizzard now coming out from Solar, trying to be aggressive right now as Danette finds Autumn Souls in the backline. Teemo next to fall as well. Danette is unhinged. This fist is finding pick after pick as the stagger coming out right here. You love to see it or hate to see it for whatever team you're shooting for, and Alex sends Pure Irish back to spawn.
Poor Pure Irish. He lost that St. Patrick's Day buff that we saw him on Wednesday. And, you just get bullied there. I love that we're seeing Danette play not just super hyper-aggressive Doomfist. He's managing his cooldowns. He's kind of throwing off the standard Doomfist rhythm to get his shots in effectively. We love to see stuff like that from a really veteran talent here, as Oldenborg are looking for another recontest. It's last fight territory.
Ooh, the Blizzard comes out from Sir Gibson, ends up finding Hades and Danette. Overtime now ticking. Well, ticked away for like half a second as Oldenborg took control of the objective, but the fight is far from over. We see Teemo just trying to clean up the rest of the objective, and it looks like Shoes Money Crew finally going to be sent back to spawn themselves.
Right, Shoes Money Crew getting caught out a bit on the rotation there, kind of reversed upon, as it were, playing everyone's favorite Uno card, really. Oldenborg just basically rotating the point with a couple people and saying, hey, you're going to have to get back to this or we're going to take it. And Shoes Money Crew didn't really have an answer to that. So now they're going for the quick recontest here. You see Danette there on the side, looking for an opportunity, looking for those sickly gazelles in the back of the herd, but he's just going to have to go straight in.
All right, Meteor Strike used to try to see if they can reclaim the damage that came in, and ends up finding Autumn Souls as they were trying to jump to the high ground to try to get away from the aggression. Johnny and Solar are able to get the follow-up there as well, and it is all said and done. Sir Gibson using the cryo to try to stay on the objective as long as possible, but it's not going to work out well for them. Cappy just trying to find their way back to the objective soon enough. Starboy just barely able to touch to keep that overtime. Take it away with Solar, finding them both, and 100 to 55. Shoes Money Crew takes the ruin.
And that was really the one thing I didn't get to talk about when I was just gushing over Danette, is the sheer ult advantage that Shoes Money Crew had built up. They had such commanding fights on their way to that 99% that, in addition to just slightly getting caught out on that rotation, they knew they could afford to lose that fight. They knew they could walk up and spend an inordinate amount of ultimates, right? You had the Meteor Strike, which got the weird kill onto Autumn Souls, which you take those. You got the big grab with the shattered follow-up. You got the Blizzard to lock everyone down. Normally, at inadvisably expensive fight. But when you only need one, you might as well use everything. And that's all Shoes Money Crew needed, was just to spend all of their money in one place. And now they have a 1-0 lead as we get onto Lighthouse now. Danette swapping back over to the Mei and Solar on the McCree. So the full mirror here, more of what we're expecting, I think, and Solar has really been stepping up. He was getting some great headshots on the Mei. I can only imagine what he's going to be able to do with the Peacekeeper at his hip.
Absolutely. Let's see if they can make some magic happen. Shoes Money Crew not even opting for the high ground, just going to go ahead and take the objective before it even unlocks. And Olden Board are now just trying to find a way to claw their way in just to keep it away from Shoes Money Crew. And the separation comes in from the Maywalls. The Rhymes tackling one another as Timo able to take down the Immortality Field. The trade comes in onto Autumn Souls as well. And we have the Amp Matrix already out from Autumn Souls, trying to see if they can get that damage and healing through as quickly as possible. Kathy, Pure Irish, Sir Gibson lining up the kill feed right now, and Shoes Money Crew evacuate the objective as Olden Board take control.
There are so many 1v1s to look at in a mirror like this. Everyone gravitates towards the Rhine v Rhine or the Maze or the McCrees, but the real 1v1 that decided that fight was Autumn Souls versus Sab. Both of them doing fantastic work with their healing and their immortality fields, but Autumn Souls building up that amplification matrix just that little bit quicker. Easy damage advantage for that first fight win, but now Sab has one of his own, and Kaffy getting the kill, kind of nullifies that, I suppose.
Well, like I always say, if the window's open, remember, you can send it in two directions there, folks. Alex ends up getting the reset as well, and Olden Board will continue to hold as they pass the 30% mark.
Just a fearless sort of play, I suppose you could say, seeing the Amp Matrix come out and going, we know they're going to be shooting through that window, trying to find an opening within our ranks here. If we just hold shield and their main tank has dropped down already, we have an opening to counter that, which is exactly what they did. Super smart, fearless play from them. But now this Diva Bomb.
Deadeye getting
the immortality
there. Immortality able to keep up Solar throughout all that, and the Deadeye not able to find the value it's looking for. Sir Gibson feeds him the Blizzard, doesn't find anyone though, and now the Blizzard in from Danid, but the investment of both Beats comes in as well as that Amp Matrix trying to keep them off the point. The Shoes Money Crew is too fast, too fierce as they push into this objective, 75%, and they take control.
Super contentious fights on the point. You feel like sometimes they just abandon all pretense and start just throwing haymakers at one another, which you love to see, of course. Both Blizzards involved there, but Olden Board, importantly, in the effort to maintain that fight, they used a few more ultimates. They're behind now on the Amp Matrix by a good bit. They do still have the Shatter, but they also don't have a self-destruct. They threw that early in that fight. As you saw, it was countered by the Immortality Field. But the early pick coming out from Shoes Money Crew will kind of mitigate any discussions about ult advantages here. We're just going to have a quick one fight, I think.
All right, we see the Maywall separating out the team, but so does Sir Gibson as they try to zone out members of Shoes Money Crew, but Hades is indeed on fire right now, showing the hell flames to Olden Board as they continue to hold.
Yeah, he saw Olden Board's Hercules flip-flops or whatever those were, the Birkenstocks or something in his hair. You know, everyone knoes what I'm talking about, or you don't. I don't know. Now Shoes Money Crew building up an ult advantage of their own and throwing in the Diva Bomb. And
hey, alrighty then. That Maywall separation was perfect, and they didn't expect the Diva Bomb over the side. Now the percentage is going to be tied up as Olden Board look to reclaim control.
Walls breaking up LOS for Immortality Fields makes a Diva's day. Alex getting the great self-destruct there, just threading the needle, hitting that hole-in-one, getting the 2 kills you need just to win the fight without really having to worry about too much else. A great Maywall here to separate and start this next fight.
Ooh, but Sir Gibson able to pull up one of their own. Thankfully, Alex did have enough of the boosters to be able to get out of that area, and Sab coming out with that Amp Matrix. The Maywall, though, denying all that damage that was getting ready to come through, and now the Amp Matrix on the point for Autumn Souls, trying to see if they can find some value in it. Olden Board have retaken control, but we are heading into final fight territory as Janet has the Blizzard on the line. Here comes Sir Gibson looking to throw out the Blizzard and seeing if they can get the value they're looking for. Johnny pops the beat to try to keep them up in the fight. Timo and Pure Irish throwing everything they can at the wall, but nothing just seeming to stick to Shoes Money Crew. Overtime now ticking away as we end up seeing Hades coming in. Pure Irish is out of the fight, but so is Johnny. It's a 5-5 as the Shatter comes in, gets one, but not able to get the follow-up as Timo sends the Fire Strike right into Hades' face, showing that the fire is not only on their side. We see Control continuing to go to Olden Board as the D-Mech comes in onto Alex, and they are just cleaning it up. The Diva Bomb finds nothing, and Olden Board tie it up 100-97.
Ilios is often a Lucio map. I think a lot of people will consider the stage that we're going to next when they're thinking about Lucio's impact on a map like this. But on Lighthouse, Starboy there, that entire time, bobbing and weaving, avoiding everything. I think he got 2 or 3 kills over the course of that fight. Maybe just some cleanup final blows, as it were, but he was dealing the damage. He was managing that fight perfectly, doing what Lucios are supposed to do, which is be really, really annoying. So good on Starboy there, being exactly where he needed to be when he needed to be there. Great sound barrier coming through, and the cleanup. I mean, you cannot deny the man lighting up the kill feed there. Really getting ahead of old Johnny Coomber over on the other side. Now it's 1-1 here, about as contentious as it gets. A full mirror all the way through. No Doomfist coming out on this one. I'm hardly surprised. Let's see how they go on WoW.
All right, we already see the rotation into the side room as the Maywall comes up from Danid, able to find the double freeze. Sir Gibson trying to get the follow-up on the tanks of Shoes Money Crew, but it's not going to be enough as Solar finds Timo in that fight. And it looks like Shoes Money Crew holding control of that main tank are going to take control of the objective as well.
Yeah, just a good aggressive rotation there, but not necessarily from who you might think. Hades in that fight had such a controlled response, happy to hold his shield, absorb all that damage coming in, and all the CC efforts from the Mei as well, who otherwise might have just started cleaving through and freezing his entire team. So good mindful play coming out from the Reinhardt players on either side, but Hades with the obvious advantage as we start the second fight.
Ready. We see the Amp Matrices coming out for either side, looking to see if they can find a pick, but the Maywall comes up for Sir Gibson, creating a lot of space for them to be able to rotate into the objective. Maywall also coming up for Dana to deny that damage coming from Olden Board, as well as we see Solar separated out from the rest of the team, and Kathy takes advantage. Sab able to find Sir Gibson in the middle of the fight as the Blizzard comes out, but the cleanup's not going to be enough. Kathy does find Johnny with the Deadeye, and now it's up to Sab to try to keep and hold everything together for now. Control is already swapped over to Olden Board. The fight is far from over right now. Choose Money Crew just waiting, hoping that one of their members will be able to get back in this fight. And there it is. Solar back on in as the Deadeye comes up, trying to zone, trying to take out anything that they can. Danid in the backline, getting ready to come in. Blizzard Big Eat coming in from Pure Irish. The 180 was there and ready and raring to go, but the Maywall separates out Timo from the rest of the team. Diva Bomb comes in huge, ends up getting nothing but shield, but that might just be enough to see if they can take Hades out of this fight. The Feed Fest just continues to go on, and honestly, this is just pandemonium.
I mean, kind of a disastrous start there for Shoes Money Crew, right? Having the Blizzard eaten and then getting the picks. I mean, not much, no effectiveness from the Shatter either. Timo now swapping over to the Wrecking Ball, just looking to be add a little extra mayhem into this mix, which I am always a fan of course. Starboy being chased down here, has to beat to stay alive.
All right, they beat to be able to get out of that, and the Deadeye finds Pure Irish after the D-Mech from Sab, and now we see Cappy coming around but gets slammed. Danid back on that Doomfist, but catches an icicle between the eyes. At 70%, Shoes Money Crew retakes control.
Gibson going for the, how many spins? We'll call that a 1080. Into the well there, I'll allow it. Alex getting the kill credit though, so you take that to the bank if you're Alex. Little stat padding there. Kathy swapping over to the Tracer, another one of his signature heroes, as Danid had swapped over to the Doomfist. Got some nice, really nice picks to kind of clean up that fight despite the rough start for Shoes Money Crew there. Now we're almost even on percentages. It is 1-1, 70% on either side. The Diva Bomb really the only thing for Shoes Money Crew. Olden Board, the Blizzard, and the Ant Matrix needs a big damage and CC advantage.
The rotation comes out from either side as the Ant Matrix providing damage and healing from Autumn Souls. Danid, though, ends up finding Sir Gibson, and Autumn Souls is left on their own. The tanks healing for their healer, trying to keep them up in the fight as we see Danid going straight on in, finds Autumn Souls in the backline with the help of Alex's Diva Bomb, and Timo Teemo able to find Solar in return, but without that healing, it's going to be hard to hold on as Danon catching Teemo on the back foot. Overtime now taking away Shoes Money Crew, trying to bring it back together as Sir Gibson feeds in the Blizzard, able to get the double kill with the help of Cappy as we see the Meteor Strike allowing Danon to be able to pull out of the objective. Overtime continues to tick as Solar now back in on the Tracer, looking to find someone, anyone, to take off this objective, helping out Alex, finding the objective picks that they need to take this map. Elios has to be the start, and Shoes Money Crew are showing why they're sitting in this spot.
And
Take
with that,
Elios.
And with that map loss, Olden Board are locked into the 4th place position. Shoes Money Crew in a comfortable 3rd. Olden Board needed that 3-0 to overcome the map differential. So not going to happen here, even if Olden Board managed to pull this out and win, which is perfectly possible. I like the adaptations we started to see from Olden Board at the very end of that. I feel they just came a little bit late. Danad swapping over onto that Doomfist was such an effective change, so effectively threw Olden Board off their guard, which you can hardly blame them for. It's Danad on Doomfist. It's kind of his thing. It's like Goku from 01 on the Pharah, for anyone else who's been watching plenty of Trials like we have. The Moira is a great swap because the primary counter to Doomfist if you're playing a Baptiste would be your Immortality Field. But if he punches you out of the Immortality Field and into a wall, or into a pit, or into the Grecian cliffside, doesn't really do you too much. So swapping to the Moira gives you that chance to kind of fade out of that effect, try and dodge something. But just not enough in the end. Shoes Money Crew had such an entrenched hold, such a great ult advantage in a couple of those key fights as well. It was really all over but the crying by the time it hit about 70% or so. So good on Shoes Money Crew for maintaining their composure and being willing to adapt in what has normally been a pretty rigid meta we've seen this week.
Absolutely. It has been interesting to see the adaptations, especially between the EMEA and North American divisions, of how teams are willing or unwilling to try to change their strategies going into map after map against certain teams. And today, even though honestly they're just playing for pride at this point, it's really going to be about learning to counter those counters, being able to grow that hero pool and know when those swaps are going to be most effective. Because I gotta tell you, the next step, that Contenders level, we have got the top 4 there already waiting. They are watching, and as we said before, they're looking for the weakest link.
Right, exactly. This is a great opportunity. Practice in an official is always more efficient than anything you'd ever get in a scrim or a show match or anything like that. So this is a real chance for both of these teams, win or lose, to learn, to adapt, to figure out what counters might work for them, what comfort picks they might be able to rely on when they start getting called out on a meta composition, perhaps, because Contenders teams will exploit that. They will exploit their higher average mechanical skill to force out wins in a mirror matchup like the ones that we've been seeing. The opportunity to kind of get an upset or get around that is to swap to something that you know you're very good at, very comfortable on, that your team has practiced a lot, that might not be expected from those higher level teams. We've seen, I'll bring up O1 Esports again, just because they're such a different team. They're running this Pharah, Wrecking Ball, wacky composition all the time, and it wasn't enough to get any wins, unfortunately, but it was enough to throw teams off for a little while and force them to think about, how do we prep for this team? How do we, let's have a scrim where we make the other team that we're scrimming play like they would, because it's so different that we have to be ready. And if you have something like that people haven't prepared for, you can pull out some pretty nasty things in a game like Overwatch. So this is the opportunity for these two teams to really start experimenting, flexing around, doing what they got to do to be ready when those big 4 teams up in Contenders right now start calling.
Yeah, that's really what it ends up coming down to, because honestly, it's just, if you look at it, it's a huge game of Uno going on right now. And whoever has that reverse card in the middle of the match to be able to turn the fight in their favor is really going to be able to continue to lock these matches down. And so being able to pull out that reverse over and over and over again, not just trying to meet metal to metal with that same mechanical skill, but just trying to change the game however little bit it may be. It may be just taking a different angle that may be expected from the other team. It may be switching to a hero that ideally probably normally wouldn't fit in this composition, or just turn the whole team on its head. As you said, we've been seeing from O1 Esports, it's really been throwing people off. And honestly, O1 Esports isn't a bad team, and if they had a couple more heroes in their pool per player, I feel like we'd be seeing a completely different trials here in the AMEA.
Oh, sure. I mean, there's tons of opportunity and potential there to really mix things up if you have teams that have that sort of Clockwork Vendetta O1 Esports style of this is what we run, but have a little more flexibility too. When we look at like the very highest levels, like the Overwatch League, those teams often will have compositions that are their favorite or that are the meta, that they are super comfortable running, that they've just put in hundreds of hours into collectively. But then they're always ready to pull out that pocket pick, to go for the cheeky Pharah or Genji or Doomfist, as we've seen. But it's all dependent on practice time, communication, strategy, all these things that these teams right now are, in some cases, just starting to build up or have only been building up for a short time. So I think the further we go, the more complex the strategies will get and the better games we will continue to see.
Absolutely, and I cannot say that I'm surprised, because the next place we're heading to is Kings Row, folks. You know it, you love it, and it is going to be an all-out brawl fest. We have been seeing match after match between these two teams, just trying to meet each other on Ilios exactly where they were. And looking at the heroes that they have been playing thus far, it can continue to work in that way. The Doomfist has many different high ground positions that they can utilize to be able to get those rollouts just so perfectly clean. But you also have a lot of high ground and long sight lines that can be utilized by snipers that would be able to see that Doomfist coming from a mile away, be able to call them out and just keep them completely unawares.
You're exactly right. Tons of opportunity for sightlines here. Decent skyboxes in the first and streets phases, I would say. I think the big thing about Kings Row, just in addition to how long it's been around, how much everyone loves it, is how flexible it really allows you to be in terms of your hero selection. There are so many different compositional options here. Metas that we haven't seen but could see, like a dive or a double bubble or a wrecking ball focused composition. They all have a place here on Kings Row. Of course, I'm not surprised to see what we're looking at right now. More of the mirror, more of that Maywall tango with the McCrees trading blows from the high ground or wherever they decide to be. So this is not surprising to me, but let's see how these teams wrinkle it out and duke it out as we get going.
All right, we already see Oldenboard on the attack, just doling out a little bit of time to get an idea of what they're getting ready to run into. And now that they see the mirror match is set, they are ready and raring to try to match it already. Hades separated away from the herd, but the rest of the team able to rotate around at Solar, finds Autumn Souls a little bit out of position, and the follow-up comes in on to Timo. The Maze icicling right into each other, almost freezing each other into May popsicles, and it won't be enough to take each other out. 40 seconds already off that time bank.
And you saw at the beginning of that fight, both McCrees going for the off angle, knowing they had to get a shot behind the shields, away from the defense matrix, anything they could get. Solar just barely getting ahead there of Kathy, who couldn't quite find the shots he was looking for onto Sab. Now Sab with the Amp Matrix and Hades with the Shatter here means that this could continue to be a pretty decent hold for Choose Money Crew.
That is true. The Amp Matrix already coming out from Autumn Souls, trying to see if they can plow out that damage as the rotation comes in through the Alderworth to try to see if they can keep Choose Money Crew alive. And now Oldenboard going for a very odd rotation, and it looks like Shoes Money Crew trying to match them pick for pick right now. You want to rotate, so can we, as they go ahead and send the Amp Matrix on the high ground. No! Solar turns around at the last moment as Cappy was trying to walk their way up. The Shatter comes in huge from the Hades, but the Immortality keeps them up for now. Autumn ends up giving their life for the cause. And Sir Gibson next to follow, and now Starboy investing the beat, trying to keep them up in this fight. As we see ultimates coming online, the Shatter finds Ganon behind the shield just barely, but there's not enough follow-up to take them out of this fight. Golden Board are going to have to retreat with 2 minutes off that clock.
Right, and the weird rotation from Olden Board came because Danid got caught out so hard, and Shoes Money Crew just decided to commit to that and said, hey, let's just use the Amp Matrix here. So it got them a couple ticks, or rather gave Olden Board a couple ticks, because it kind of started going back and forth. Captain started getting kills, as he's doing right now, and it looks like this fight is all over but the cry, and Cappy just hitting the shots. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
It's just not fair. It's just not fair.
It is not fair in the least, and Solar is going to get that long spawn right there, and that barrel roll can only take you so far. Already at 3 minutes 45 seconds as we see Olden Board head to the street.
And they're looking to see how far they can push up, but I think they know that they have to be careful. They used a lot of ultimates there, and Shoes Money Crew didn't use a ton, just the Deadeye and the Earth Shatter by the look of it. So they should know, if they're paying attention, the Shoes Money Crew have a lot to work with. Not that that's going to stop them.
Yo, look at those rotations coming in, and Matrices and May Walls, oh my, as we see Shoes Money Crew able to make it back to the objective. Deadeye comes in, or sorry, Diva Bomb comes in, but the May Wall protects them all for now. Now we gotta see if it's going to be enough to hold everything together. We see the zoning Blizzard coming out, the trade with the Diva Bomb as well, but nothing is landing, and now the bookstore is being held by Olden Board. They're trying to hold it all together as Johnny investing the beat now, and finally the picks come in for Shoes Money Crew. They'll be able to retake control of the objective, but at what cost?
I mean, yeah, definitely an expensive defense for them. They came in with so much, and they just have the Deadeye now and the Amp Matrix coming online. Olden Board don't have a ton, though, either. The main difference is going to be that sound barrier, which is going to be a big deal here. They could engage with that, or use it to counter out the damage advantage that Sab's Amplification Matrix is going to give Shoes Money Crew. They have some time to work with here. They could choose to hold on to things and come in with a big advantage in their next fight, but so far these teams have been pretty fast and loose with their ults, and I don't expect that to change.
Not at all. Here comes the sound barrier from Starboy, looking to see if they can make their way right on in, and it looks like we're going to see Shoes Money Crew go ahead and move their way back. The Maywalls come up, blocking them in a boxing ring of death right now as the trades come in. Solar finds Sir Gibson, but it's not going to be enough, and it looks like Olden Board have found out that Solar is standing right behind him. They got to take him out as the Blizzard coming in from Danid, looking to clean up, but it's not going to be enough. The trades come in from the McCrees as they continue to hold this objective, but it isn't going to be for long.
Nope, some easy cleanup there from Olden Board. Both Mays coming in with some really late ultimates. I kind of thought that fight was almost over, and I was going to question Danid using his so late, but it makes sense now as he swaps over to the Doomfist. He has had enough. He is ready to kill. Olden Board here coming in with 3 ultimates of their own, a decent batch, but now Shoes Money Crew have the sound barrier advantage. Let's see how they use it.
All right, the Deadeye coming out, gets stunned out by Danid, who are able to get the punch up just in time. Now we see the D-Bomb coming in, not able to find the value it's looking for other than space. 1.31 meters remaining as Hades taking control of the objective, is looking for something to shatter, looking to put pain on the side of Olden Board, because right now there goes that shield. Teemo trying to get aggressive, and there comes the tackle in, and will be punished immensely. 30 seconds remain on the clock as Shoes Money Crew retakes control.
I mean, I suppose at least Olden Board got that D-Mech at the end. It's a staggered kill. Shoes Money Crew losing Solar, though, means Olden Board can move pretty quick to get this re-engage. And with 15 seconds left, they don't have very many other choices besides move quickly. Just a Shatter coming online for them. Solar actually swapping over onto the Tracer. I was going to talk about his Deadeye, but it didn't matter. And that Shatter gets nothing from Hades.
Nothing at all. And there comes the Blizzard, and Danhead gets trapped. Teemo, Starboy lighting up the kill feed now. Cappy able to get one in as well, as we see Solar swapping on over to the Tracer, but not fast enough for this Cowboy. Minute 30 gets added to the clock as they make their way to Objective Charlie.
Now Olden Board coming online with almost 3 ultimates here. Plenty to work with, some good engagement tools. I'm kind of wishy-washy on Starboy using his beat to engage. I generally feel it's not the best way to use the ultimate, but there are a few things that he really needs to counter right now, except maybe the Meteor Strike from Danhead. So let's see how he uses it.
All right, the Deadeye comes out, finds Solar on that high ground, and Sir Gibson able to separate out Hades from the rest of the team. And like a set of dominoes, they're tumbling down as we see Olden Board just clearing the objective so effortlessly. The wisdom that they have on their side is truly paying off.
Right, so how's Starboy going to use that ultimate? He's not gonna. He doesn't need it. It's fine. He's just going to hold on to that. Now they have plenty to manage this last push with, but the Ant Matrix coming out is forcing them to play it a little safe. Oh no, Starboy!
Ended up getting ooped into the sky and canceled out by Danhead as the Meteor Strike comes in, trying to see if they can find Autumn Souls on the high ground, but able to get away just in the nick of time. Diva Bomb gets invested as Teemo almost takes that Diva Bomb straight to the face as Cappy finds Johnny with that Deadeye, and now it's going to be up to locking down at Danhead. Danhead is just all over this objective. One punch man on a rampage right now as the Blizzard trying to come in from Sir Gibson, but gets booped away, as does the Blizzard. 65.82 meters as Olden Board take to the defense.
I mean, losing that beat really changed the entire color of that whole push. Olden Board, they were really starting to get their momentum. They were winning these fights so cleanly, building up an ult advantage, had all the tools in the world to really make that last couple meters happen. But the boop into, it might have been an uppercut into a punch there from Danhead, I think. I don't think I saw it fully. But Danhead knew right away. He knew they have beat. They're going to try and use it here to kind of overcome our defensive advantage, you know, our damage advantage with the Ant Matrix, our spawn advantage, given where we are on the map. He is my focus. Starboy is my target. And buddy, your name is written in the death note. You know, you're already dead. Don't even worry about it. So I feel for Starboy there. I've been that Lucio player for sure, where the Doomfist on the other team is just like smurfing really hard and just really wants to make you miserable. But we're not here talking about my plat games. We're talking about a very contentious EMEA trials. And boy, howdy, these guys are giving us a treat. I kind of want to see Danhead stay on the Doomfist. But for the defense, it makes sense. Solar, though, maybe going for that cheeky Widow shot to start the game. That would definitely give them some momentum. I would like that a lot.
Absolutely, it's something they could use to their advantage for sure. But Olden Board, you know, they've got that wisdom. They're not gonna fall for that, especially not at the beginning of the fight. Again, this isn't our plat games. They know that's exactly what they're gonna try to come out with to start things off. And it looks like we will see Shoes Money Crew on this high ground rotation, looking to see if they can find their way into the objective without having to manage to go through that choke. But the Maywall separates out the team, but we'll see Danhead using theirs to keep the rest of the team safe. And now the rotation goes to the high ground, waiting for Johnny to earn that speed boost back as Solar goes ahead and takes a trip onto that high ground. And now with the advantage that they need, control is already going to Shoes Money Crew. First tick already on the objective as the Maywall separates out the team from Olden Board, and now that second tick is earning its way up, already at 50% as the full rotation comes in, and now it's going to be up to Olden Board to really move in on this, trying to gain that advantage, and Pure Irish finds Hades with the fist, but will get demeched in the end by an aggressive Johnny. This full rotation is now separating out Shoes Money Crew. It's really going to be up for Olden Board to rotate and take them out, and they will send them back to spawn.
I think Shoes Money Crew there were just a little too dependent on a flank popping off. They were really waiting for Solar's off angles to earn them an advantage in that fight, get them an early pick, and just let them kind of wash over the point. But Olden Board were so ready for that. They were always willing to not only meet that flank, but use it to split the team apart and take down those weakened sections to win that fight. That's exactly how they did it, and they just carved the whole point up. Great defense there from Olden Board, despite that first tick giveaway.
That's true, but they got plenty of time to work with. We're already 2 minutes down as we see the blizzards coming out for either side. Sir Gibson, really the only one in the middle of that, but they are safe in the frozen wasteland. Already the Maywalks coming up once again. Dana trying to separate out space as the Shatter coming out from Hades allows Solar to get that finalization onto Cappy, and now the Amp Matrices coming out. Starboy ends up falling a little bit too out of position, and Olden Board will end up losing this objective. The stagger comes in huge right now as they try to hold everything together, but with now 4 minutes on the clock, we're going to see Shoes Money Crew take to the street.
So that was the fight that Shoes Money Crew were looking for in the first place, where their whole team was able to rotate together and basically switch up the entire position of that fight. They were effectively defending the point, and when you have that angled advantage there, it really gives you the space you need to get a good Amp Matrix off, get great value there from the Baptiste and the McCree just shooting straight through it. And Olden Board didn't really have an answer. They couldn't really recontest effectively without taking too much damage, and their healers couldn't keep up, and it all just kind of crumbled from there. Now, Shoes Money Crew coming into street phase with just a couple ultimates to use. Olden Board have a good chance to recontest here, but they're going to have to move fast.
All right, we get the Deadeye coming out, and Cappy finds Solar amid the chaos going on. They are looking to take advantage of it. Timo getting the follow-up right there as we continue to see the push back to spawn. Olden Board able to retake control and really lock down this choke if they want it.
And it was all up to that initial pick from Caffey, right? The faster Deadeye wins. That's a true high noon showdown there between the two McCrees. Shoes Money Crew have a lot to work with here. They did manage to build up some good ultimates, but what value will they be able to get here when the positioning so favors Olden Board?
That is true. Olden Board are locked down and ready to roll, but the bookstore is filled, and we see the Blizzard coming out. Immortality Field protecting everyone for now, and Pure Irish taking down Sabs as well. The Shatter comes in huge for Hades, but the cleanup has to be there too. And there it is. Danet and Hades able to move their way in and take down their counterparts, and it is a swing fest. And now everyone from Olden Board are indeed taking a nap as they head back to spawn.
So a fantastic Shatter, good follow-up from the whole team there, but if I'm Hades, I'm kicking myself because I tried to charge and I just hit the cart instead. That's the most frustrating thing as a Reinhardt player. He really wanted to get in there, get a guaranteed kill to maybe speed that fight up a bit. A minor detail at the end of the day. Pure Irish almost getting caught out by Danet here, but now they know, and Danet just says, okay, I'll just throw this Blizzard.
Blizzard coming out right there, ends up finding Cappy in the end, and Solar able to get the follow-up onto Starboy. It's a 5v4 on the objective right now as they try to see if they can hold control. Solar coming out with the Deadeye, trying to see if they can zone out, but I don't think they'll be able to rotate around the cart soon enough. Olden Board continuing to hold for now as Timo sends out the Shatter. Doesn't find the value it's looking for, but does. Sends them right back on the ground. And with 1:10 remaining on the clock, Olden Board are going to have to give up objective Bravo and get ready for another defense.
Right, they're at least burning time off the clock there, but that Shatter Amp Matrix combo was way too strong. It's just such a quick burn of the entire Olden Board team. Caffey, it looked like he swapped for a moment, but is back on the McCree, no problems. Alex coming online with the self-destruct, but not much else. Meanwhile, Olden Board, I feel like we've said this before, have an ult advantage. It's just a matter of what they can get out of it. That charge kill is something.
Yes, ends up grabbing Danet, but the trade comes in onto Cappy, but it looks like Olden Board are not out of this fight yet, trying to see if they can get the finalization on Johnny, and Autumn Souls will find it. A couple of additional seconds off that clock, but with 2 minutes, Choose Money Crew have plenty of time.
Sure, enough time to build up all the ultimates they need, including those support ultimates, which will take the longest. The plan now is how many ults can we draw out of Oldenboard in the process? Can we get the self-destruct? Can we get those support ultimates, especially the sound barrier? That would make a big opening for Choose Money Crew. Now Starboy has to be careful with how he uses this. He must be cautious, or he's going to throw away Oldenboard's only advantage right now.
All right, we see the Amp Matrix coming out, and a majority of it covered by Maywall, and Choose Money Crew just going to dip back, not even going to give up anything for that Amp Matrix. Going to go ahead and continue to earn up that percentage, and you just see them getting ready to light it up. Sab now coming out with theirs as Pure Iris sends him the Diva Bomb. The trade comes in, though, from Alex, as Johnny does find Timo. The Diva Bomb, I believe, falling on the high ground, doesn't find the value it's looking for in Solar, looking to see if they can take the Diva of Oldenboard off that point, and will end up being successful. 45 seconds remaining on the clock as we head into final fight territory.
And good on Oldenboard, at least for maintaining some discipline, keeping the sound barrier, the shatter, the blizzard, almost with the high noon now. Choose Money Crew have to throw everything at this, but that opening pick is so huge. Oh, and they just, oh no.
The blizzard comes out. Despite the beat, they are not able to touch the objective in time. It is just so unfortunate. That little boop was all it took to turn it right into Choose Money Crew's favor, putting them at 2-0 in our match today.
And this meta really allows for so many zoning opportunities. I feel if it sticks around long enough to get a name, it'll have something to do with that. Because how are you going to approach the point when there's a wall and a blizzard and an Amp Matrix downrange, way too far away for you to do anything about it? What are you going to do? So the hesitation there really is just, how do we get to point? What's the safest, most sensible way to get to point? It's gone. It's just gone already. There's nothing I can do. So I don't even know if that really counts as a C9, but I'm totally going to say it is, just because I think that's funny. It's an unfortunate situation. My heart bleeds for these guys, but that's how close this series has really been, down to the wire the whole time. Choose Money Crew always pulling ahead a little bit more, and now we're on match point already.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks have been about those just millimeters every time, those micro plays that really just turn the fight in one way or another. And I can't wait to see it. I know the chat is already blowing up. They are ready for this match to end because they want to see that battle of the Titans. But we got to finish this out. I did not think that Oldenboard are done yet. They have been doing incredible. And if they take this short break we're about to have to try to figure out how to chip through that armor of Choose Money Crew, I think they'll be able to bring back with a reverse sweep. But we're going to be back with more Contenders Trials action in a few moments. Welcome back, folks, to the EMEA Contenders Trials. We have got a burning matchup going on between third and fourth place teams, Choose Money Crew and Old and Bored. Now, the score really does not do justice for the matches that we have seen thus far. And as I was shouting out in the chat a little bit earlier, I do hear something in the distance. It sounds faint, but there may be a beep beep. We might see Old and Bored grabbing their brooms and ready to sweep Choose Money Crew right out that door. So I don't know, Thibbledork, do you believe that there might be a chance that Old and Bored can turn this right around?
I think this is brooms one way or the other. Choose Money Crew have consistently been stepping up in those last little moments, those games of inches, those mind games and one cooldown fights that are really decided in just the scrap, where you can't even see what's going on anymore. It's just a mess of particle effects. That is when Choose Money Crew has been consistently pulling ahead. And in a meta like this, that has really been the edge that Choose Money Crew has needed. That said, Old and Bored every time so far have been so close, just a minor mistake here or there separating them from victory and defeat. So if they've taken this halftime to go, hey guys, let's focus up. Come on, these little mistakes, this is not us. This is a beatable team. Come on, let's go. And if they got a really good pep talk in there, there's always a chance for the reverse sweep. Big Hungry Phil isn't here today, but I was just telling you earlier, you might get the Big Hungry Phil and Thibbledork special. 10 maps today, I would not be opposed with games like these on the line. So let's see what Old and Bored can do.
I am ready and raring to go. We are getting ready to head on in to our next map. So I hope you are ready and raring to go, folks. These teams have just been absolutely hungry. Honestly, there's nothing on the line except for pride right now. So it's going to be up to them to see who can turn this around. You know, the score at the end of the day isn't doing it justice right now. And I am just so excited to see if Old and Bored are really going to be pulling out those tricks that they know from their years of playing, you know, that wisdom that they've got already banked up, and really show Choose Money Crew that they're in for the long haul.
And to see if they can show that, they've chosen our third map for the day, which is going to be Oasis, which is an interesting choice to me. I like it. I understand that Control's still on the menu, obviously getting that hybrid out of the way. They only had Control, Escort, or Assault, but really, who wants to go to 2CP right now, right? When there's a Control on the menu. So we're getting right into it, actually, starting on City Center with more of the mirror here. I'm okay with this. I don't think Doomfist does super well on here. Maybe see that on a University or a Gardens instead. So Choose Money Crew coming out with the usual and taking the high ground control early.
All right, well, it looks like Old and Bored are ready and raring to meet them on that high ground and literally just take it right on away from them. They are not worried in the least, and they're going to go ahead and drop down and try to meet Choose Money Crew exactly where they are, trying to put them on the back foot with just nothing but pure aggression right now. The Heats come in, end up keeping that stun from coming in, and Cappy finds Hades before Choose Money Crew can get back and help him out. Alex next to fall in the fight, and that might be all she wrote. Old and Bored just cleaning up the stragglers right now as they look to take control.
Yep, a good early first capture there for Old and Bored. A good rotation, forcing them off the high ground, and then really putting Choose Money Crew on the back foot, saying, okay, yeah, you don't get the high ground for free. We're going to come up here too. Like, what are you going to do about that? And Choose Money Crew, no immediate answer, it looked like. A slight ult advantage as well for Old and Bored. Not a ton, though. Both ultimates for Autumn Soul, Sav, Solar, and Kathy all coming online at about the same time. But Starboy, actually, there's one I didn't notice. Noticeably ahead in the Sound Barrier War because of that one fight. And an opening completely denied by the May wall there from Dan.
That is true. 2 ultimates invested and nothing to show for it from Old and Bored. But that percentage is going to keep on ticking as long as they can continue to hold that in their favor. It's going to continue to work out for them. They just got to get to that 99-99. They don't even have to win this fight. They just got to stall it out. And there it comes. You're Irish in with the Diva Bomb, looking to find it, but doesn't find nothing. but shield and wall. The trade comes in between Cappy and Janet, taking it down to the 5-on-5, 4-on-5 with Sir Gibson. Finds Janet in the midst of the blizzard, and Shoes Money Crew is on the wrong side of the map right now. They're not going to be able to regroup with the rest of the team because they are just getting sought out right now and just getting walled together. Sab, just barely able to get around that corner. And the shatter comes in huge from Timo, and the cleanup is complete. And now we're going to see Janet coming in on that Doomfist, but ends up finding nothing but Cappy's Peacekeeper. But there were some trades on the field. That percentage continuing to tick away, and Olden Board are just sitting nice and comfy.
Yeah, happy to stall on what is a very stall-friendly map here. Even as Shoes Money Crew are convincingly winning this fight, it doesn't matter in terms of the objective. Olden Board are now at 99%. Shoes Money Crew must have a perfect rest of the city center now that they have this swap. Dana going over to the Doomfist, I was actually going to point out, he's frankly been getting outmatched on the Mei almost this entire game, I want to say. Sir Gibson's Blizzards overall have just been so much better at consistently getting value, maybe even one or two frozen targets. I feel like Dana, time to time, has thrown out a Blizzard that gets nothing. So the Doomfist, I think, is his answer. He's sick of it. He doesn't want to worry about that anymore. He just wants to punch people.
That's true, but the question is, will it work out? The trade Ore coming in between Solar and Starboy, and Danit does end up finding Autumn Souls in that backline, so it's going to be up to Starboy and Johnny to keep their teams alive right now. But Olden Board, they're ready and raring to go to take it back, but Solar ends up finding Timo in the back of the head with the pistol. Now the Blizzard coming in from Sir Gibson, able to take it down to Johnny, and that's going to be all she wrote right there. Solar gets the icicle right between the eyes, and now Danon is back in the fight, looking to see if they can take that high ground and create some space. And Golden Board trying to retake control right now, but it just doesn't seem to be in their favor.
No, Janet actually getting the D-Mech there, which is huge, but getting taken down by the Baby Diva as Hades goes for the Shatter, it looks like, but didn't get much of anything. I think blocked by the Ice block there from Mei. Sir Gibson throwing out a Blizzard in the middle of that fight just to secure the kill and maintain, try to flip the point back, but can't maintain against the stall from Choose Money Crew, who are now stabilizing pretty well on the point. Choose Money Crew coming online with a few ultimates to use here. Importantly, both support ultimates, which could be a huge advantage for them as they maintain this defense. And Autumn Souls completely caught unawares. What was he doing?
The one clip comes in quick, and the Pulse Bomb comes in huge as well. Starboy, the only one there to be able to heal them up. Is going to be hard for them to be able to touch this objective with Timo at half health right now. It's really going to be up to Cappy to try to keep that going in overtime. 99-99 as Janet ends up finding Cappy, eventually chasing down that pesky Tracer. In the 5v6 fight, we end up seeing that Maywall come out trying to separate, and the Icicle saves the day again. Immortality Fields get traded as we see Autumn Souls trying to hold on to this objective, and Solar is just chasing them down, and now we're seeing Autumn Souls having to play the frog, jumping up and down, just trying to stay away from those pesky machine pistols. The Pure Irish able to get some cleanup in there. Hades falling incredibly low, although the Shatter does find one, but the trade is even right now, 2 for 2, as we see Olden Board still trying to find a way to take control of this objective. It's a 4v4 fight as the Amp Matrix gets invested into the objective. Sam just trying to find something, anything to keep things going, as Timo now back in on the ball. The full pump now coming in, finds Starboy right in the face, and Alex with the double kill, looking to really clean this sucker up. Meteor Strike coming in as overtime continuing to tick and tick and tick, and I feel like Golden Board have just tired out.
Right, I mean, that was a long last fight, right? And I don't want to pin the entire thing to one mistake. But what was Autumn Souls doing there? Was he typing out his dissertation? Did he alt-tab? Was he having connectivity issues? Like, he was standing almost completely still. And with Tracers at this level, you really can't be doing that because it takes about half a second for your head to explode. So now Olden Board on the back foot off of not entirely that one little error, but definitely compounded by maybe some late game high pressure jitters causing some unforced errors. Gibson briefly showing the Doomfist swapping back to the Mei. Daned seemingly happy to stick to it, totally making me eat my words and then back again. I have no idea what he's doing. He really just wants to mess with me, I think. So thanks, Daned, for that. If we get the interview with you at the end of this, I'm going to yell at you.
All right, well, we're headed right on in to University as we see the Maywall already coming out for Sir Gibson, but Hades catching out Timo instead of being caught off guard. The rotation comes in, and it looks like Olden Board without their main tank. They're just going to go ahead and pull back for now, allowing Choose Money Crew to take control.
Yep, a quick early first capture there coming online, which is nice when you consider how much these points can be stalled, as we saw over on City Center. This is looking good for Choose Money Crew because of this exact position right here. Daned's so good and has so many angles with the Doomfist to stay hidden until he doesn't need to be anymore. And then they're all happy to swing as one. Olden Board coming on with the early push, but Alex on the Zarya, instead of the D.Va, getting the early pick.
Yeah, that Zarya at supercharged levels, hitting almost 200 DPS per second. It's just too much to handle, and that D.Va can't eat that beam. At 30%, we'll continue to see Choose Money Crew maintain control.
Right, and I really feel that the D.Va you primarily keep because you can eat the Blizzard and the Icicles and the McCree damage. But Zarya, I think, also allows you to kind of break free of freezes and mitigate effective blizzards, which Sir Gibson has been hitting pretty consistently. And of course, that damage and the flanking gravitons is always nice. All right, buddy.
That is a huge grab right there, and Solar does end up finding Cappy in the mid. Hades with the shatter in the back line ends up grabbing two, but Timo and Autumn able to get a couple of trades of their own, but Choose Money Crew will continue to hold despite being at a disadvantage.
Choose Money Crew we saw on King's Row, right? They love going for those off-angle plays, really surprising you, going for these weird rotations, having people in places you don't expect. And right now, on a map like this, they are getting to play their game fully. Off-angle gravitons, off-angle shatters, Daned hiding behind corners and punching people. I mean, this is their ideal version of the game, and they're having a lot of fun with it, but they're also winning convincingly. It is 89% to 0 right now.
And 90% and climbing. We're heading into the final fight. Olden Board's got to turn it, and they got to turn it now if they want to keep this fight going. Daned does end up finding Timo in the midst of the chaos as we see the beats invested from either side. Daned is just unleashed. Right now, there is no answer from Olden Board. Daned is just unhinged with the quad kill that we see coming in. That is it. It's done. Over. Stick a fork in it, folks. Choose Money Crew showing that Olden Board need to be heading to the retirement home as they take today's match 3-0.
And to reiterate on stakes here, both of these teams were already locked into contenders. It's not like anyone's being sent home too sad. But this locks in Olden Board as our 4th seed and Choose Money Crew as our 3rd. So when the existing contenders teams come around and start picking from the fruit basket, as it were, they will see how those two teams shook out against one another, and more importantly, probably, what both teams like to use to secure their victories this week. So an important strategic insight from both teams being given here today, but Choose Money Crew consistently proving the more adaptable team. Daned coming out with his pocket pick, that Doomfist, so effective the entire way through, even if he tried to mess with me on that last one with which hero he was actually going to roll out with. I do think, though, in addition to showing that strength, showing that Doomfist proficiency and that adaptability, it maybe showed a bit of a weakness for Choose Money Crew, despite the convincing victory. I don't want to mitigate that at all because it was lights out in that last map. But I think showing like, hey, we'd really prefer to play the Doomfist if we can. Maybe not our strongest suit coming in here. That tells a lot to other teams. So something they maybe want to work on, but certainly nothing they need to worry about here, obviously. They were able to pull out a very convincing win, and congratulations to them because they turned it on in that last one.
They definitely have plenty of time to prepare for contenders for sure as they continue to get some praise. It looks like we are going to be bringing in Hades, that beautiful big old Orion swinging a main tank from Shoes Money Crew. Hades, you gotta be feeling good. We know that you are already locked into Contenders, but how does it feel to be moving in third place instead of fourth?
Oh, yeah, that's nice. It's nice.
Hey, we take those for sure. It's so we saw you guys. The first couple maps, I would say, were close, though definitively in your favor. And then on Oasis, you guys really turned on the jets there. What changed for you guys to really just, I mean, not decide to suddenly blow them out of the water, but what gave you that advantage?
I mean, I think it was like a little main tank diff, and their mental just went downhill like the entire time after. So it was very easy. I don't think it's
that.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has just been incredible seeing y'all work. Now that we have made it to the end of Contenders Trials, tell us, who are you looking for? Who of those top 4 are really in your sights that you may be a little worried about as we head into the next stage of this path to pro?
I mean, I think like New Kings for sure. Like they always do good. And I also think like for Contenders that we kind of afraid of like BH because we like they're good players, and they're good team. So those 2 teams are we like really looking forward to play against.
Hard to fault your choices there. Those are both some pretty solid teams. But you guys put on a clinic today. Now that you guys have the victory secure in hand, is there anyone you want to shout out or give some special thanks to or anything like that?
I mean, I think I want to shout out Watery. He's like a homie, but he's banned from Contenders, so it's kind of sad. And I also want to say like a shout out to Timo, since he didn't block one shatter, so that's like nice, he gives us the win. So yeah, that's it.
Very kind of him to let you get so many great shatters there. You'll love to see that. I dig it.
Alrighty. Well, Hades, I thank you so much for joining us. Please go on ahead and celebrate your victory as we continue forward.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, folks. Wow, that was an amazing match right there, but we have got more action just down the peak. The Titans of this Contenders trial are on the cusp as they prepare for their match. New Kings versus Young and Beautiful. This matchup is, honestly, we have no idea how it's going to shake out. The wins are the same. The map differential is the same. They are both incredibly dominant forces, and only one can walk away with it. We'll be back with more EMA Contenders Trials in a few moments. Welcome back, Overwatch fans. Here it is, the pinnacle, the absolute peak of EMEA Contenders Trials is here. We've seen you blowing it up in the chat. You've been waiting for this for the last 2 weeks. New Kings versus Young and Beautiful. These two teams have to be incredibly evenly matched. The scores speak for themselves. Any other team currently in trials has fallen to them 3-0 easy days across the board. And now only one can walk in as the top dog.
You'll love to see it, really. Whoever wrote the script for this week definitely did a good job. You'll love to see that for sure. These teams, as mentioned, incredibly evenly matched all the way through, have just been ripping the other teams in this group apart. But now it's all down to the two of them. So we have to see which one can manage this mirror meta most effectively. Who can adapt out of that meta most effectively? We've seen a couple adaptations from both teams, willing and able to pull out picks like an Echo even, or a Sombra here and there, in addition to those May McCrees that we've looked at. And they might have to pull out all the stops here. This is kind of where I think you start to show some of your strats, because this is a big boy game. And as just like in our last game, right, which decided 3rd or 4th place, and who might be singled out as that weak link in that 4th spot when the contenders teams, the existing contenders teams, come to call. Whoever wins here takes 1st place in EMEA trials and kind of sends that message to every other team around that says, hey, we were in trials, but that does not mean you can push us over, so you better be careful. So both of these teams, I think, despite everything being kind of locked and loaded, in addition to just the sheer pride of this match, will be going at it in the hopes that they can avoid maybe some of the gnarlier matchups awaiting them as they get into contenders proper.
Absolutely, and you got to wonder what is going on through their heads right now. Honestly, they have probably been prepping for this ever since Contenders Trials started, and we are going to be starting off once again on Ilios. This time around, we're going to be starting at the Lighthouse, and you know what? I love to see me some good old booping action. As we saw during our last game, it seemed that the one that booped the most wins the match on here, and you love to see those easy dubs by sending them right over the side. I'm really excited to see how this one's gonna shake out.
Let's see if New Kings actually use the composition that they're showing so far. It kind of looks like they will. Okay, I'm very interested in this. Grathan swapping over to the Tracer, just going for that quick Symmetra TP. Young and Beautiful establishing some early high ground control with this meta composition, this brawly May Wall Tango, as I'm calling it. Psycho, though, on the Pharah, providing that air support, forcing Young and Beautiful to rethink their approach, going for some covered ground as they rotate towards the point.
All right, we see Young and Beautiful taking shelter in their Mega Pack room as Grathan just giving a little bit of poke damage on the side. Psycho soon to follow. The team just using that speed to charge right on in to the point. The Immortality Field already going down for Boombox, as you just see all the damage coming in from every single angle. Psycho, Grathan, and everybody else just locking them down in this point. But Young and Beautiful have control. They have no worries whatsoever. You want to pepper us? Go right ahead. You're not touching, and we're still gaining percentage as we continue to climb.
Right, Psycho now just going for the quick drop-down barrage, because why not? But of course, Young and Beautiful, too entrenched, too ready to answer that call.
That was absolutely huge. Ends up getting the eat and taking him down. The res does come in on Lolshish as Grathan finds Sika with the pulse bomb, but not without the KSA trade. The beat now invested from Cruz, because it's a 3-on-3 fight trying to keep this objective in their favor. Ben Best ends up falling to Grathan in the end, and Boombox soon to Psycho. At the 50% mark, we will see New Kings take control.
Cruz going for that last bit of stall. Wolves are saying, no, let's not. Nico now swapping over to the Sombra, actually. I was expecting a Pharah of his own or an Echo perhaps to counter this airborne assault from Psycho and Dreedro, but Cruz seemingly content to stay on the Lucio. Boombox swapping to the Moira for some greater cleave healing and some avoidability with his mechanics. Nico now forcing New Kings back towards the point. Grathan having to turn around, and the Nano coming out onto the Pharah to start.
All right, the Nano's in, doling out damage and keeping that Pharah well alive right now. Sika ends up falling, but KSA is down as well. So it's an even 5v5 as we go ahead and see the trade coming in. Lolshus trying to come in with the slam, but ends up getting booped off as we see the Graviton Surge coming in after the res. Psycho finds Ben Best with the barrage, and KSA and Psycho clean up that objective, but already 2/3 of the way to their first full capture, and Young and Beautiful are sitting pretty.
Right, Young and Beautiful getting just a little bit more stagger on there. Sika now going over to the McCree, saying, this Pharah is a little too much to deal with for me. I want to have a maybe stronger counter against her. But they still have to be so careful in their rotation. In addition to the damage raining in from the Pharah, they have to keep an eye on their back, because Grathan is happy to get some flanks in. Nico being forced to translocate away there, getting some damage onto the Wrecking Ball, but not really the engagement he was maybe looking for.
Right, we have ultimates on the line as we see the Sleep Dart coming in onto Sika, but not going to get the follow-up that they're looking for. Psycho ends up taking themselves out, probably against a Rhine shield or a wall, not exactly for certain, but they'll get brought back into the fight by Dreerdro, and as we see the percentages matching, the barrage comes out once again, but doesn't seem to find the value that it has found many times before. We see that machine pistol coming in huge for Nico as we see the point swapping over, but the fight is far from over. The pulse bomb coming on in to Ben Best, trying to see if they can hold it all together, but Lolshus is going to take advantage and run them down. 90% and climbing. This Young and Beautiful continuing to hold control of this objective and bring it on up to that 99% mark.
To Young and Beautiful's credit, right, they lose that fight, but hold it to 99%. Not coming online with too many ultimates here, just the Deadeye, it would look like. New Kings, meanwhile, have the means to hold this well. The Nano Boost to give maybe to Psycho or a tank. Wolves just coming online soon with that Minefield, the Graviton, and the Valkyrie as well to provide cleave healing or damage boosting as needed. So many tools here for New Kings. Can Young and Beautiful overcome?
Deadeye is coming out, trying to zone as much as possible. Overtime now ticking away as the minefield comes out just barely, but Lolshus ends up paying for it dearly. Coalescence now out from Boombox as KSA finds the double on them and Ben Best. Psycho just trying to get nutty on this objective as Young and Beautiful have swapped it into their favor, but New Kings just turn it right on back around, and as overtime continues to tick away, anybody's got a touch, but it's not gonna be Sika as they get taken down as the point locks down.
Yeah, just not enough value out of what Young and Beautiful had, and the ult disadvantage in general was such a hurdle for them to climb. The EMP, it did cancel the barrage from Psycho, which was admittedly pretty big, but not big enough. New Kings had so much with that Graviton. The Minefield didn't get a ton, but it was enough to really force Young and Beautiful off the point and kind of force them to reposition out into the open, and that is where New Kings wanted them. So much long-range poke means they don't want Young and Beautiful turtling up on the point like they were trying to. They want you out in that main courtyard where they can pick you apart at their leisure. So a great opening round there from New Kings, taking advantage of their compositional strengths. And now it looks like we're going into that full mirror matchup, except maybe Grathan, who I think is sticking with the Metro. I'm okay with this. I like this.
This definitely can be helpful. Those walls and pillars around the objective can be incredibly deadly if those turrets are not taken care of, and now we see Teleporter coming back up, trying to create some space on the fronts and backs of Young and Beautiful, but they're not falling for it, surely not yet. Almost getting taken down. Ben Best able to be saved by Cruz as they just roll right on around these pillars are their playfield right now. So close! Exarap just barely able to hold on right there thanks to Deirdre and Lolshish keeping up that defense. And Young and Beautiful hold it together as we see the Ant Matrices pulled out from either side. Lolshish finds Nico against the Maywall. The Shatter comes in clutch. Lolshish gonna go ahead and clean it up with the rest of New Kings as they take control of the objective.
Yeah, that charge kill from Lulz just really said, yo, happy birthday, Nico. By the way, it's Nico's birthday. And then Nico said, yeah, it's okay, it's fine. We have plenty to work with here. We can lose this fight. Cruz committing the beat in the middle of that, I'm not super sure about. I was surprised as well at the beginning of that fight that they were so committed to that left side, or right side, depending on how you're looking at it, right near the cliff's edge, basically. Because you got two Lucios on the field. Someone's going to get booped. Why didn't you rotate sooner than that? And that gave the opening that New Kings really needed. Now they have tons of tools with this defense. Look at their ult bank here. They're opening just with the Ant Matrix, but they don't need much more to continue holding this well into the 50 or so percentage mark or more.
All right, let's see if they can make their way in with New Kings now taking the lead. It's up to Young and Beautiful to create that space. The Maywall comes up from Psycho, looking to see if they can make some room to breathe. And Nico able to find those turrets and start sniping them down. The Blizzard is invested by Psycho, as well as the Barrier of Graphin, trying to divide the objective as much as possible. Benbest coming out with the Shatter, doesn't find what they are looking for, and the barrier is still barely up when Naru throws in the bomb. Nico now getting the follow-up with that Blizzard, trying to see if that's enough to clean this all up, but it's just not going to be working out in their favor as we see 2/3 for King.
And a huge stagger here on the Naru. It looks like they're going to try and make that pretty quick. Or not, actually. They're just kind of let her dance around a bit. Young and Beautiful, actually, with a quick re-engage, they're almost about to capture this point right now.
So close right now to be able to try to bring it back, but it seems like there were no help there for Naru. Cruz able to find Psycho now on that Doomfist. As the Deadeye comes out, Psycho ends up finding Deirdre as they roll around just shy of the 99. Young and Beautiful retake the point.
A complete throw-off in tempo for Young and Beautiful in a good way. New Kings thought that fight was over, thought they had time, and now are completely being caught on the back foot. Cruz committing the beat here just to bring things back for Young and Beautiful, and that was clean. That is the kind of fight that you win right there. Because New Kings, again, they were staggering the diva. They thought they had all the time in the world to kind of hang out and, look, she's trying to run off the cliff and we're not letting her. But then all of Young and Beautiful were back on the point. They almost captured it, and suddenly New Kings had to try and get into position and were completely caught off guard. Psycho now on the Doomfist has been for a little while now. He almost has the Meteor Strike, it's looking like. But they have to keep an eye out on Nico's birthday Blizzard here because it could be pretty deadly.
That is true, and whoa! Young and Beautiful not even able to touch the objective as we see Lopchus taking Benbest out of the fight, but the trade's coming in, and it's coming in clutch right now as that birthday Blizzard from Nico is paying off in a dividend. Celebrate good times, come on! As those picks continue to come in, the barrier does end up coming up for Grafton, so that's going to divide the point in a twain, allowing New Kings to continue to hold control for now, but we are going to see control maybe swap on back. Lolshius now in on the ball, just trying to stall it out, but will stall be only what it is? Benbest does find Psycho with the backhand of the hammer, and Psycho getting the follow-up onto Lolshish. We will see control swap back over to YAB.
I mean, some good attempts there to maintain control of the point. Another stagger on the Grafton there. But luckily, it doesn't matter too much for Young and Beautiful because New Kings were already at 99%, so it doesn't cost you too much more. Wolves just now swapping back over to the Reinhardt, looking for something a little more stable to push this point. And they're in last fight territory too, with not a ton to work with. Young and Beautiful have the Deadeye, and the Sound Barrier is coming online soon, but he is behind Dredro on that regard, so they're going to have to be a little careful, go for a longer engage here to try and build up their ult bank and maybe just get an opening pick instead. Why not? Make me look silly.
Psycho finds Grafton in the Deadeye zones, almost being able to grab that in overtime, but now we see Naru with the follow-up onto Psycho, and they are just getting aggressive. That Shatter comes in looking to see if they can clean it up, but it's not going to grab the value it's looking for. Young and Beautiful showing you can't mess with us like that. as they take the ruin.
Right. New Kings looked so in control for so many moments in that round, but at the same time, Young and Beautiful were always ready with the counterpoint right when they needed it. So, sure, New Kings got 99% pretty quick. Sure, they were winning a lot of those fights, but Young and Beautiful coming in with the fast re-engages, the strong opening picks, good value out of their ultimates, like their Blizzards from Nico, their Deadeyes from Sika. In general, Young and Beautiful played the cleaner game despite losing a couple of those fights just off of sheer pick potential, mostly from like Psycho's Doomfist or Lul's being Lul's. So now Well is where we decide it all. A very contentious map, lots of compositional options for both of these teams. It's getting a little choppy for me, but that's not going to stop me chitter-chattering because there's plenty of opportunity. Grathan and Sika, from what we're seeing, Grathan staying on the sim, Sika swapping back to that McCree as expected. And that might be a key difference as we come back to us as well. We're figuring out these video production issues. Excuse us for some choppy footage here and there, some big gray walls. It's just like the game anyways. We were already seeing huge walls coming out on both sides. Now we're just getting that in the production too. So thanks, May.
Just man Symmetra coming in. Maybe some hacks, maybe coming in on this.
That's true.
Nevertheless, we said that this was going to be a Titans matchup, folks, and we are seeing it right now. There is no contest right now. Young and Beautiful have taken the objective, as we see Nico obviously hacking the objective and making sure we can't see that strat, how they were able to pull that off. The percentage is going to climb in their favor as they wait for the recontest.
Right. We don't know how that first fight went, so I'm going to assume that Nico just got like 6 headshots in a row and just absolutely blasted everyone. We're going to say that because it sounds cool and it's his birthday, you know? So he did some really cool stuff. He probably like raised a diva bomb with his wall or something. You know, the big hype May plays. We're really going to hype him up on that one. Excuse us again while we get these video production issues sorted. Some minor blips and blurs on the screen, but nothing to worry about. We can just talk about the game and how it's been going so far. Very close. I'm hearing some ultimates going off in the background. A Blizzard coming through, a diva flying around, probably trying to just get in people's faces. A diva, I believe, just said, "I'm on fire," which means one of them is probably getting the kills they need to secure that fight again.
Absolutely. And remember, we are on Well now, folks, so it really just takes that little boop from the Diva or the Lucio to send them straight on packing. And Young and Beautiful already up to a very nice percentage as they continue to hold.
Right, with some great ultimates to work with too, and no fear at all. What a shatter coming out from these guys. Nasty stuff, a clean win with 2 ultimates. Boombox did also invest that amplification matrix, which was a little too much, but they didn't know that. They didn't know Ben Best was going to hit a big Ben Best shatter, as Ben Best does. So now Young and Beautiful in a commanding position here, holding up on this high ground forward, saying you're not going to get through this cleanly. You're not going to get to point with full health. We know this is last fight. We know what we have to do. Here comes a Blizzard from Nico.
The Blizzard comes in as Nico looking to clean it up off the objective, but somebody's on that point, and it is KSA. They're going to be able to try to hold this sucker together right now as they try to get back into that mech, and it looks like New Kings will at least get a minor percentage on this area. Overtime now ticking away as we see Lulshish making their way in on the ball. Dridro getting the follow-up, ends up sending Nico right into the hole. But as overtime ticks away, it's really going to be up to New Kings to find more than just that single pick. And Dridro getting aggressive right now, looking to see if they can find Boombox, but Boombox dropping that beat. But Psycho giving the follow-up, saying rap is better than hip-hop in this case. But Psycho turning it around, saying no, it's a little bit of country, a little bit of rock and roll. The percentage continuing to tick away. Overtime looking to see if they can lock this down, but the feed fest from New Kings is just too much for them to handle right now. There's just nothing that it seems that Young and Beautiful can do to try to push them off as the picks just continue to come in, but they continue to hold control. Now the Amphitrix out in the fight as Boombox looking to see if they can feed in that continued percentage. The slam coming in from Lulshish, but the Immortality Field keeps everybody up in the fight. Now Nico is over on a Doomfist of their own. The shatter comes in fat from Ben Best, but they can't get the follow-up they're looking for as New Kings retake control.
I have no idea how. That I kind of blacked out through that entire fight. It was so back and forth. Nico swapping back from the Doomfist over to the Sombra. He's annoyed, I guess, by Psycho, was maybe looking to mirror him, but instead decides maybe we'll go for a counter. Maybe we're a little smarter than that. Naru being forced onto symmetric turret duty. I've been there before. Close to the self-destruct for him. Cruz close to that sound barrier, but behind Dreedro. New Kings have the opportunity here to hold, but this hack opening up actually forced Naru to overextend and used his self-destruct just to try and remech, but he does get taken down by Lulz.
That's unfortunate, but Benbest does find Exarath in the trade, and the Deadeye does find Dreerdro. So with the heals down for New Kings, we're heading back into control for Young and Beautiful. If they can finalize these picks right now, it can really work out in their favor. But no, Exarath just barely able to get back in the fight to keep Lulz up even for just a moment. Clinging to the edge of death right now as Cruz tries to make their way around, trying to prevent the rollouts that are coming in from Psycho. Benbest does end up finding Dreerdro though, so not going to be able to get the boots they're looking for, but Psycho finds Benbest in the backline. Overtime ticking away once again, but Garthen looking to melt down anyone in their way, and New Kings just not giving up the crowd.
Right, and Young and Beautiful here, they're trying so hard to bring this back to really disrupt New King's style, this aggressive rollout that they have the potential to use with the Lucio and the Doomfist and the Reinhardt and the Diva. But it's not enough. Nico hasn't been able to get enough value out of his hacks. He hacked the Baptiste to start that fight, but really it just forced Naru into a compromising position because he thought he could get the kill, and he couldn't. There was too much peel from New Kings. Now Psycho has been doing so much work in keeping this, and we're approaching 99 to 99 in what looked like a done and dusted deal for Young and Beautiful at the start of the round.
That is true. It looks like the hacks are not looking to be strong enough. The stun comes in from Psycho, and the Meteor Strike looking to try to finish off Boombox and will be successful, but the trade has already happened. EMP comes in huge from Nico as the boop comes in from Cruz, sending Psycho to a quick and early death. Naru able to get the follow-up on the Graphin as the DMAC comes in, looking to see if they can find KSA, and will end up being successful. The feed coming in from New Kings is just too strong right now. Boombox has that Ant Matrix ready and raring to go, and they gotta pop it now. They gotta be able to push them off this objective, but we're gonna see the barrier coming up for Graphin, providing them just a little bit of space to be able to continue to contest this objective right now. And Cruz finds Psycho on the high ground, don't even need a chatter, coming in huge for Benbest as they continue to try to push him off. Victory. What?
We have...
Wow.
Welcome to New Kings versus Young and Beautiful, ladies and gentlemen. We are in for a banger. If that is not enough to tell you right there, I mean, that was inevitable, right? Such a long 99-99. The longer it goes, the shorter you have to get back to point before overtime ends. Even the most minute step off the point, when it's been going for that long, is all it takes to end the round and end that map. So a fantastic back and forth on both sides. It looks like I froze there for a second. Sorry. No one should have to look at still frames of my face for very long. But hey, just complete insanity all the way through, right? Just constant back and forth there. The great Doomfist plays, the EMP coming out there in the middle of that fight, some big shatters all the way around. I mean, that round of Well felt like a whole map in and of itself. And we're just getting started.
We are indeed just getting started. I am honestly beside myself because many times it looked like Young and Beautiful were getting ready to retake that, and many times they did. But nevertheless, New Kings continued to keep a foot on that objective, and it looks like Young and Beautiful didn't get the memo about that one, and they were getting the picks that they needed, but they were chasing a little bit too far and ended up finding themselves on the wrong side of that objective. We're dealing with a little bit of issues, as you can tell by that last map. Dead silence, except for us, so I hope we were still entertaining regardless. We're going to go to a quick break and see if we can resolve those. We'll be back with more Contenders Trials action in a few moments. Welcome back, folks. What a banger of a match we got going on here. Literally just a step in the wrong direction is what is going on between these two absolute massive forces. You talk about a rock and a hard place meeting right in the middle, and you are talking exactly about New Kings and Young and Beautiful. And YAB almost had that, and then just took one step in the wrong direction, ended up leaving the point behind, and New Kings taking an early lead on Ilios, but now they're looking for a redo because we're heading to Lijiang Tower.
And Lijiang is another amazing opportunity for both of these teams to flex around. Control is generally a very flexible game mode because the stages of each map are so different geometrically. Tons of space on Lijiang here for another Pharah, or an Echo, or some Doomfist, and plenty of Symmetra. So you know New Kings are going to be happy running what they've been running, flexing around to what they've been flexing around to. But as this game goes, these teams will learn a little more about each other and potentially some weak links or weak spots that they can exploit. So keep an eye on Young and Beautiful still, because this was, as mentioned, a game of a single step, really. It all came down in those last moments of overtime to an aggressive push there. The photon barrier came out from Grafton, and as soon as it was gone, Young and Beautiful thought they could aggress forward onto that left side of the point. And it was kind of one of those like, oh, well, everyone just assumed that someone else was handling the point. And
Yep.
They all stepped off, which, as we call it in the industry, is a big fat Charlie Niner. But
Right.
it happens. It happens. And when you have half a second to step off the point, no more, no less, it's inevitable, really.
Yep.
So now getting on to Lijiang, like you said, this is our chance for a redo. This is Young and Beautiful's chance to maybe iron out their early game wrinkles, their over-aggressions that cost them in a couple spots that were otherwise winnable, but also a chance for New Kings to solidify their lead, to say, that was not a fluke, that was not just UC9ing, that was us being the better team. So you better watch out.
All right, in we head, and it looks like we're going to be starting off in the Gardens. This is an absolutely amazing map to utilize. We've seen that Symmetra coming out from Grafton, and it looks like Psycho possibly going to utilize that Maid, but even a Doomfist on this map. The objective is so small, and there are walls on just about every single side. Not only that, but you have the possibility of just yeeting people into oblivion on multiple sides of this map. As the teams prepare to face down in the middle, I gotta say, I'm wondering what these final comps will look like.
We will see here in probably about 5 seconds or so, no more, no less. It looks like we are keeping what we've got. So May Sim on both sides here, not surprising. Sim very strong, especially on Gardens here. So we'll see which one can get more value between the two.
All right, Nico able to hold strong for just a moment longer, but the picks come in for Grafton and KSA. Despite Young and Beautiful being on the objective first, their aggression will indeed cost them here as New Kings take control.
Right, and Young and Beautiful really just trying to force the issue and say, we got the wall up, we know you're separated, we're going to come in and try and isolate one of your players and get that early advantage. New Kings just have such a controlled response to that scenario. They know exactly where they need to go, what they need to do to minimize the time that any of their players are isolated or don't have help. And when your team suddenly pushes into what you thought was a lone Reinhardt or May player, and there's suddenly 5 other people with them, you kind of leave yourself exposed. And when you're caught off on the back foot like that, it's almost inevitable that you lose that fight. Now Young and Beautiful trying to re-engage, trying to make something happen after that first failed attempt.
All right, we see the Matrix coming out, and the crisscross applesauce barriers from both Symmetras come in a huge, and it looks like New King's barrier was just right in the great position it needed to be, as many of the team get sent off the side. 50% and climbing for New King.
Right, and May and Sim honestly counter each other really well in reasons regarding their ultimates, right? So Sika opens with the photon barrier there, but Psycho's Blizzard doesn't care. The quick teleporter rotation there. Let's see how Young and Beautiful make this happen. They've already lost me.
All right, Nico already out of the fight is not a good way to start it off. but Zika might be able to turn this around. Naru and Benbest do end up finding their picks, bringing it up to a 3-5. The Diva Bomb does come out from KSA, but immediately gets taken down, and the control goes over to Young and Beautiful.
And this has generally been Young and Beautiful's bread and butter. They have players like Benbest and Naru and Cruz on the team. They love the aggressive plays. They love saying, hey, let's go where they don't expect us and go there quickly. Now New Kings, though, trying to do the exact same thing, and they isolate Nico, who's forced to ice block early.
Right, we do see the picks coming in, though. Nico was just wanting to take a little rest. You know, it is their birthday again, after all. The team's got this, no worries. And then the clean up is huge. 30% in climbing for YAB.
And that little nap there means that he doesn't have to use his Blizzard. Not that I think he was going to. That was a pretty decisive fight for them, I think. So they have that online as well as the Shatter and the Photon Barrier of their own. New King's close to mirroring that, a little behind in the Shatter, but ahead in the support ult matchup, which is pretty big. Probably their only real chance to gain an advantage from an ultimate perspective in this next fight.
All right, the teleporter comes up, trying to see if they can get into the back line. As we see the barriers coming out again, this just absolute diagram going on to the objective, but it's going to be about which team makes it work better. With both barriers essentially in the same place, it becomes useless for them to utilize, but both teams are standing strong for now. KSA is the only one to get Team Max, though, so that provides a small advantage for Young and Beautiful to move in, and the trade comes in quickly. Benbest able to find Lulshish after the May walls go down. Then the beat gets invested from Cruz to make sure that they stay up in that fight. 87% and climbing as YAB looks to hold down the garden.
Such strong work here from Boombox, really managing the entire fight, using that veteran presence as New Kings actually look like they might start recontesting this a little quicker than we thought.
Wow, that symmetric teleporter must be on the outside and didn't get taken care of. Overtime ticking away. You know what? You can't say it's YAB only. New Kings looking for that massive aggression to try to push them off the point, saying, you got it? No, you got it. No, you got it. Nobody got it, and YAB walk away with the dub.
At Young and Beautiful, they're playing their game. We talk a lot about heroes, or teams, I should say, saying they forced us to play their game, or we weren't allowed to play our game. Young and Beautiful, their game is hyper-aggressive, force you off the point through sheer force of will and damage. That is their game, and they got to play that there on Gardens. And now this composition, this is the Young and Beautiful special. I call this the spiky ball comp, maybe the spiked envelope, I should say, because the Orisa Reinhardt there creates this perfect little shell, and then Nico just blasts out of it with his giant bombs, except he's dead already, so really, what good does that do you? Sorry, bud, I cursed you.
No spikiness on this ball this time around as Graffin just coming in already on the level 3 beam, melting everybody down. Psycho coming in on a junk of their own. I mean, with a name like that, you gotta be just a little nuts, and Junkrat is indeed that. New Kings are gonna go ahead and take control as Sika swaps on over to the McCree.
Right, and Nico back to the May as well. They're not even going to try and mirror that Junkrat. Psycho sticking onto it and Grathen staying on the Symmetra for that added mobility and the burst from that microwave. So now Young and Beautiful at a bit of an ult disadvantage, some swaps coming through. KSA on the Sigma here is an interesting wrinkle as well. That extra shield and absorption potential gives them a lot of flexibility.
Lulshish not able to find the Shatter the way that they were hoping for, and Psycho's Tire does find Boombox in the back line. The stun comes in, but not able to get the follow-up they're looking for, but KSA gets caught out of position. The Shatter comes in from Benbest as they go ahead and lay down the team, and the picks come in despite them not being here for it. But now there's just DPS versus this Ryan and BAP composition on point, and now the barrier gets released from Grathen, but ends up dying in the midst. Gravitic Flux coming out from KSA, looking to see who they can find, but the beat gets invested to make sure they stay in this fight. Oh! Psycho goes for the Mega, and Cruz just runs him down and sends him right over. And that might just be what they need. The Deadeye looking to see if they can get the follow-up there. But still, New Kings just feeding to the objective. That's all they need to do is feed. They continue to hold control, but Young and Beautiful might be ready to take this now.
It looks like they've got it, but the stagger there was really strong. 78% is what we'll end it on as Young and Beautiful get their first capture of the round. Just so back and forth, and Psycho swapping actually back over to the May. He swapped to Doomfist halfway through that fight, trying to get a little extra value, a little extra pick potential. But there's a lot of open space here on Control Center, so the May makes a lot of sense because the walls, obviously. Especially when you look at Nico on the May, and you know you kind of have to mirror those walls, or you're at a major space disadvantage. So I'm okay with that swap by Young and Beautiful. So many ults to work with here. They could easily hold this to an equal percentage level to New Kings. As we get started, Boombox and Sika getting the kills.
That's right, lighting up the kill feed right now. The fight is over before it has even begun. And we'll see the stagger here for KSA on that Mini Diva. You hate or love to see it. Depends on which fan you are. And KSA falls in the end as we hit 40% and this Deadeye zones them out.
Kiss the spawn door. You gotta touch the spawn door. They're not gonna touch the spawn door. Maybe they will. I don't know. Ben Best is the kind of guy, but he does go down. KSA eating that blizzard. That will really force Young and Beautiful back. I think they've realized maybe a little too late. Hey, we were pushed up pretty far, and we were being maybe a little greedy. So being forced back onto the point, Ben Best kind of running back there. He got taken down after using that Earth Shatter. The wall and the bomb invested to counter out that Amp Matrix, and it does catch Graphic. Nicely done.
Yep, not a great place to be. Couldn't get around that corner fast enough, and Control still being held by Young and Beautiful as we go ahead and see Naru chasing down Extra Wrath. Sika does have that Deadeye on the line, and the zoning could be huge, but not soon enough. New Kings coming in as a shatter comes in through the window. That barrier going to prevent any of that damage from coming in as New Kings are looking to make this the final fight and tie up the series.
Right, so back and forth here. New King still holding on perfectly well, but Young and Beautiful starting to get the kills. Exo Wrath and Moses with a couple to leave us on, but I think, I shouldn't say that, but I think Young and Beautiful are cleaning this up right. They will have a little more time.
The fact that you say that there's thinking going on right now has my brain in a tizzy, because right now I'm just trying to keep up with the action that's going down.
Well, that's why you're play-by-play and I'm color. I do the thinking, you do the shouting, and I think it works perfectly well for the two of us. Nico coming online soon with the Blizzard. It's the closest anyone's got to an ult. Trijo not far behind with that sound barrier that's building up. But a long fight here. We'll see several ults enter the fight, so it's all going to come down to managing your space and not overextending like Trijo just did before he even got his beat.
All right, there it is. The fix they needed. A fat shatter coming in from Ben Best and the Blizzard to clean it all up. Naru cleans it up quick and painfully. And Young and Beautiful take Lijiang Tower, tying it up 1-1.
And looked like at the start of Control Center and at a couple times throughout that Young and Beautiful were kind of trying to figure out what they wanted to do, how they wanted to push up, maybe getting a little greedy at times, a little over enthusiastic. But despite those, what we might otherwise consider missteps, they still felt in control that entire time. Not necessarily because of huge fancy set plays, but kind of just because they are who they are. They're the kind of players like Ben Best, who will just hit a huge shatter in the middle of a fight because he can. Or Boombox, who will kill half the team on his own as Baptiste, again, because he can. Yep. And the whole time, New Kings were looking and scrabbling for purchase, trying to get combos together or to get a good push or to outsmart them with a Symmetra teleport. And it was just never enough to overcome that brute force from Young and Beautiful. The kind of game, again, that Young and Beautiful want to be playing. This aggressive, in-your-face, we're going to come close to touching your spawn door, but then overextend and have to run away. Like, that is what they want to be doing. And when they get to do it, you see an entirely different match than the one we saw on Ilios to start us out.
Yeah, and just seeing these teams going back and forth, Lijiang is a completely different animal than we saw on Ilios. Every single fight was so incredibly close. But as you said, New Kings set the line, and Young and Beautiful are like, meh. and walk right on over it. They have no problem with it whatsoever. They're pushing back as hard as they can, but now it's about the endurance game. They have to be able to keep this action going for as long as possible, and it doesn't stop here. The practice has to happen now, because when you get up to that Contenders level of play, you're going to be fighting those long fights over and over and over again. Those micro plays are going to be even more valuable, and honestly, with the next map still hanging in the wings, it's going to be interesting to see where we go next.
Right, and these teams certainly have that experience before, right? Young and Beautiful have, I believe, 4 Overwatch League players on there. You got Boombox, Cruz, Ben Best, and Nico. So they know what it's like to be in a slog. Philly and Paris had some very long games. They liked taking each other to map 5s often last year. So it's kind of interesting to see these guys all on the same team together going, oh, we're not supposed to bash each other's faces in anymore? This is cool, I guess. This is fine. This is fine. Definitely the burning dog meme there. But they have that experience. They have that kind of mental edge. Though, to be fair, New Kings have some very experienced players of their own. KSA playing for the Titans. Lul's just signed to the Justice, never got a chance because visa issues, which is unfortunate. And Exorath and Dreedro have been around the EMEA region for years. Grathen, of course, Grathen and Psycho, I would say, are the young bucks of the team and of the whole lobby, I would say, maybe Sika as well. But Grathen has had some great experience on Team Ireland, amongst other EMEA Contenders level teams, and Psycho's been bouncing around all over the place, but it doesn't really matter because he's always just blasting people's faces off, as he is actually starting on the Echo. Speaking of, Grathen on the Ashe, and we're seeing a whole different composition set from New Kings, as this is their map pick of Hanamaru.
All right, looks like we're going to see the Battle of the Echoes going down right now, or Echo Mercies, rather. Coming into this objective, Nico looking to try to create some space with the stickies and push back majority of the team. The defense is interesting from the New Kings right now, coming in with this metal dive composition. Lulshish and KSA on this ball diva, but we're seeing it from Young and Beautiful as well, and it looks like they're just looking to keep pace, and Psycho is indeed locking that down. Cruz able to get the res onto Boombox to try to help things out, but it's not going to be enough as New Kings hold the objective.
I think the big wrinkle here is not just the Ashe versus Tracer, which makes sense from the defensive standpoint, holding the high ground, getting those shots down range, but the Zen versus the Ana here. Boombox very comfortable on Zen, definitely his signature hero, but Exorath just as comfortable on the Ana, was given the side jukes to Sika on the Tracer, staying alive long enough to get Peel from his team and stay alive and win that fight. So Boombox, at the same time, conversely, proved to be pretty vulnerable. He's a very squishy floating Robo-Monk, and as such, with a Wrecking Ball on the field and a Tracer as well, there's so many opportunities to take Boombox down. You really have to put in a lot of resources him to get value out of this composition, and I don't know if they'll be able to when they have to put forward such an aggressive offense to get control on this point. Unless, of course, they just pick Lulzish to start and eliminate Boombox's greatest predator.
I think that's the way to start things off, but Psycho ends up returning the favor, taking down both Nico and Boombox, putting the fight exactly where they need it to be, and we will see Naru get the DMAC after that as well. The duplicate is on the line as we see them try to get their mech back, but not going to get it back fast enough. Already 2 minutes off this clock, and Young and Beautiful got to turn this around.
So the Wrecking Ball is not Boombox's greatest hunter. It's the Echo, apparently, which I shouldn't be surprised by. Psycho, hyper burst damage focused, hyper mobile sort of hero. Lul's just happy to jump into the backline and deal some damage where he can, but he's really looking for Psycho to kind of clean that up, just like he did right there. Grathen happy to help as well from the backline here, getting some shots and keeping Nico honest. They both have their duplicates online, both Echoes do, but it took Nico a little longer, and it's taking him longer to figure out how he wants to approach this point, with Grathen staring him from downrange.
And honestly, just look at the ultimates right now. Everyone is loaded and bearing arms as we see Psycho coming in with the Diva and the minefield on the point from Ben Best ends up de-meching the duplicate as they try to clean that up. The duplicate is down, and now Echo is back in the playing field, and now we are going to see the duplicate come in as well. Nico opting for the Ash, looking to see if they can earn that Bob up, as well as Naru takes Grathens out of the fight, and now Lulchish ends up getting the Nano, trying to run down any which way they can from Sunday. 30 seconds remain on this clock, and Young and Beautiful only not even able to grab that tick.
No, they were at about 30% of the 33.3 they needed. Cruz now swapping over to the Brigitte. No more Mercy support for Nico, who didn't get much out of that Ash, only really built up 80% of the Bob, and that's with the 600% ultimate generation, so he did not do a lot. Sika now going over for a long flank, perhaps trying to take down some squishies up here on the backline, and he spots Exorap. Let's see what he can do.
All right, coming in, Ore halfway there as we see the peel coming in from KSA, and Sika has to move away and get back with the rest of the team. And then Grathen, Ore getting the pick on Defend Best. It's not a good way to start things off. The Diva Bomb coming out as the duplicate from Psycho comes in with a bomb of their own, ends up taking down Boombox and looking to see if they can get the follow-up on Cruz. They will be successful as Sika just tries to continue to touch this objective. Ben Best getting sent over the side with the pile driver, and that's it. Not a tick to be had, and Young and Beautiful gotta be burning right now as they head to the defense.
So there's a lot that went into that defense being so successful, and that was a resounding success for New Kings. A full hold on Hanamura does not happen often. It's certainly possible because it's 2 CP and this map is crazy. This whole game mode is crazy. But that was an echo diff right there. Psycho getting so much work done, applying so much pressure on the supports, like really forcing them to constantly have their heads on a swivel, which is not where they wanted to be. They wanted to be able to focus on keeping their tanks nice and healthy, making sure their DPS were able to pop off, and instead they had to focus on keeping themselves alive. Cruz swapping to the Brigitte says, I can't trust the structure I have right now to keep my other support safe. I need to play bodyguard for him. It's just the nature of what's going on right now. And when you are forced to divert those resources into your backline, the other portions of your composition will always struggle. And they were constantly being outmatched simply because Psycho was applying so much pressure and his whole team was so ready and so willing to follow up on that pressure. So great job from New Kings all round. It was a very well-rounded execution of that composition. And Young and Beautiful, really forced to adapt, now have to hold, fully hold, to even just bring this to a draw as we get into a little last-second pause.
All right. Well, you know what the pause strats are. Those extra seconds just give you all the advantage, apparently. But it looks like we will see the mirror matchup right now, except for Sika and Grathen on that Sim and McCree. Now that teleporter, those beams have been working out in dividends for Grathen there, but Sika has been clicking heads left, right, and center today. I am not surprised if we see this matchup turn into an absolute slugfest on the point, and here we go. They're looking to push their way in as they teleport from the high ground, looking to make their way into this side room. The teleporter goes back up as the turrets and Maywall look to separate out, and no! Boombox falling incredibly low right there. Extrath is getting some of their own medicine, as well as the immortalities are down. Pick after pick comes in for either side, and there is even trade all around. Psycho trying to hold on, and I don't think it's going to be. They're going to get it. Team kill rings out loud, and only a minute 5 off of that time bank, and New Kings reset the line, pushing Young and Beautiful right back.
I mean, it doesn't get much more clear-cut than that, right? A full hold into a first fight, first point capture there. I wanted, assuming that went longer than 65 seconds, I wanted to talk about the switch up in composition between the attack and defense for Young and Beautiful there, because that first round was like crazy. It was like, oh, this isn't the mirror meta that we've been seeing at all. There's a Wrecking Ball, there's Echo and Ash and all these different support heroes. What's going on here? And then on that defense, it just became like, oh, back to more of the same. Of course, it makes sense when you consider how much you had to turtle to make that fight even possible. Not that it worked, but in an ideal world, you would have to. You need that Mei. You need those walls and that CC to help kind of force people back. You need the McCree, the CC from the flashbang and everything like that. And I think New Kings knew right away, like, they're not going to go for some wacky wrecking ball, like disruptive composition that focuses on the choke point, because they know that we've been using the Symmetra and that we're happy to just TP onto the point directly and then really force them out of position. So instead of going for anything crazy on New King's attack, they said, we know what they're going to run. They know that it makes the most sense to run the meta composition right now. Let's just mirror them, because we know we can beat them in the mirror and we only need to take that one tick. So fantastic strategical thinking and understanding from New Kings, knowing kind of like, I know that you know that I know. It's very, it's very back and forth like that. But New Kings showing that, hey, we know what you're going to do and we can beat you on it. We can beat you doing the same thing with just a minor wrinkle here or there, because we are the better team. This was the most decisive map of the entire game so far. And I think that was a real gauntlet thrown from New King, saying, we want to end this. This is not going to go to map 5. You're not going to get any cheeky extra rounds or anything. We're done. We want to blow you out of the water. And this is how. So now Young and Beautiful coming onto their map pick, but this is match points. The pressure is on.
Yeah, we are definitely going to have to see what kind of action is going to be coming up, folks. Does Young and Beautiful continue to hold that Uno reverse card and are ready to lay it down? The only maps that they have to choose from are Hybrid and Escort. So there is still a lot of possibility that could end up coming out here. Are we going to go to the traditional Kings Row Hybrid? Maybe going for the Blizzard world that we've seen teams pull out before, kind of change things up and try to see if they can catch the New Kings on the back foot? Or are they just going to blow us out of the water with something we haven't seen in the past 2 weeks? We don't know yet. We're going to a quick break, but we'll be back with more Contenders action in a few moments. Welcome back, Overwatch fans. We are at the absolute precipice. We have been climbing Mount Everest the entire time in these trials, and we are almost at the tippy top. New Kings pulling out an absolute slobber knocker. And I mean, they just literally just slobber knocked YAB on Hanamura. I still can't believe it. My head is still spinning at the fact that it was that decisive after the first 2 control maps we saw. Now the question remains, can the clap be the clap back?
There's so many things to unpack there. Slobber knocker being used as a noun and a verb. The clap versus the clap back. I mean, we don't even know what map we're going to next right now. So we're just going to discuss how decisive that last map was, how Hanamura was. Shout out to the Young and Beautiful Twitter, because they were like, "Oh, we're going to Hanamura. These cherry blossoms will be our lucky charm." It makes sense. Their graphics, they're very flowery, very colorful. And then 5 minutes later, they said, "Nope, no, we got full health. Sorry, guys." Unlucky. Go next, I guess. So At the very least, their socials don't seem too perturbed, but that's not to say that their players might not be feeling the heat.
Yeah.
Of course, tons of experience in high pressure situations. Boombox and Cruz have tons of experience losing to my team in clutch situations. So, getting clapped by New Kings here, haha, by the way, they might actually be able to maintain their composure as we get further into the series. I couldn't resist. I had to. And there's plenty of opportunity here still. Right? They've shown that when they get to play their game, when they have a map like Lijiang in their pocket, they can get aggressive. They can go for these crazy off angles. Ben Best can do Ben Best things all day long, and they walk away happy. This is also their map pick. So maybe excuse me. I don't know why I said pick. Maybe they take us to a King's Row, fairly traditional. Maybe they take us to a Blizzard World, kind of mix it up, give themselves a little more space and strategy. Or if we go to Escort, you could see a map like Route 66, which has tons of different options for compositions, openings for snipers, openings for Doomfist. All the flavors of the month that these teams are flexing to can find a home on one of the map types that we're going to next. Of course, we haven't quite heard which one that is yet, still waiting on production to give us that whenever they get it. But if I'm Young and Beautiful, I'm holding on to that as long as I can. I don't say anything until the last possible second, so we can talk about all the strategy we want to have, but the other team cannot. So it makes a lot of sense why we haven't heard it yet. But I'm curious and I really want to know, so hurry it up. Come on, I'm trying to cast a game here. I'm begin. I love this.
I mean, at the end of the day right now, Young and Beautiful have to be at least a little tilted, as close as these matches have been so far, and then just to fall flat on your face on Hanamura, there's got to be a bit of a mental boom, even just the slightest in that sense. So, maybe the reason that map pick hasn't come out yet is they're still trying to regain composure right now. Oh my goodness, it has just been absolutely incredible seeing these teams go back and forth at it right now. And I don't know, Young and Beautiful, I feel like they're going to be able to turn this around. But the question is, where is it going to happen? Where is that battlefield going to take place next?
Right, and I actually think we're going to take a couple extra minutes for these teams to decide. I believe that's what I heard in my ear. But regardless, I agree, right? If you're Young and Beautiful, you're taking these extra moments to really take a deep breath. Let's take a 60-second meditation. We lose the first map to a C9. We lose this last map in a slobber knocker full hold, as you called it. It's such vastly different reasons to be upset by those losses. It's kind of just pulling them back and forth in every direction. So I don't mind them for taking the little extra time. And I believe we are going to take a little extra time too. We'll be back in just a couple minutes when we have that decision sorted.
Welcome back, Overwatch fans. We have got all that mess straightened out. It looks like Young and Beautiful are ready to take it to the next round. And we are heading to, who'd have guessed? We called it out. We're heading to the row. Scrims row, Kings row, Goats row, whatever you call it, it's all the same. And they are ready to just knock it down and brawl it out. They are mad and angry. I mean, I would be if I were them right now, and I just want to lay all that frustration right at the feet of the Kings, and by feet, I mean 6 feet under.
Ready for battle.
Wow, I feel like we're getting ready for a WWE match. You know, pay for the whole seat, only use the edge type situation. I appreciate that.
That's where we're at.
It's definitely just a total slugfest back and forth. But as mentioned, right, Young and Beautiful, their 2 map losses so far have come in such different ways. You had the C9 on Ilios. It was kind of inevitable, but also just annoying. And then the total just haymaker from New Kings to finish out Hanamura. So yeah, Young and Beautiful here. I hope they took that extended break while everyone was getting their computers sorted to really talk it out and use that long-term experience to make sure their mentals aren't too cracked. New Kings coming out with some spicy bits, it looked like, but then Psycho swapping right back to the Mei. Not going to give me anything to talk about. We are looking at a straight mirror as New Kings begin their attack.
Well, New Kings feel that they got the edge, especially after Hanamura. They gotta be pumped. Their mentals gotta be high, and Young and Beautiful are ready and raring to go to try to shatter that as the Maywall comes up from Psycho. Gonna get traded there with Nico, trying to catch Psycho out of position as Ben Best and Lolshish just going at it one after the other. Grethen finds Ben Best in the end, but the D-Mecha does end up coming in onto KSA, but those picks are hot, fast, and heavy right now. The trade comes in between Deirdre and Sika. Cruz and KSA able to find those picks as well, but Deirdre just following it up. First tick coming in, second tick from the New Kings. They're ready and raring to go right now, and with only a minute off that time bank, they're going to take it to the street.
And when a fight is so back and forth like that, it's almost inevitable that the attacking team will take it, especially, well, mostly, I should say, on a point like Kings Row first. The spawn advantage is so extreme for them that even though they were losing a couple people here and there, Young and Beautiful just didn't have enough of an advantage quickly enough to forge a competent defense. Now pushing straight to the streets with an Ant Matrix, they are ready, New Kings, to push that advantage.
Ooh, the shatter comes in from Ben Best, grabs nothing but shield, and Lolshish has one in the pocket as well. The blizzard coming out from Nico, cleaning it up. Grethen does end up finding Ben Best in the blizzard, but it's not going to be enough as we see Young and Beautiful hold the objective.
So Young and Beautiful lost that first fight, but it wasn't quick enough that they didn't have any tools to recontest with. Some good value out of the ultimates that they did use means that Young and Beautiful, not much else to work with, but they do establish an early defense. Happy to back up, though, take advantage of the space that they have as New Kings commit ult to Grethen! Okay, alright, okay, alright, okay.
Grethen, they have families! The Maywall went down at the final moment and the trigger was pulled. Team kill rings out loud as the streets continue to move.
And even before that wall went down, Grethen had such a narrow little angle to get his shots through. Probably so narrow that Naru didn't even consider the fact that he would need to defense matrix that. The wall looked great, but it just wasn't enough. And now it's all New Kings can do, or all Young and Beautiful can do, to recontest this point with 1.77 meters on the distance.
And actually, this is the exact place they want to hold this. The spawn advantage is heavy for them right now, and the picks are coming in quick, fast, and violently. Oh, Axelrath trying to get away and will end up being successful. Has to use the MO to get out, so you know that's 20 seconds off the clock as they wait for those cooldowns.
And perfect point there, because that bit I said about spawn advantages and everything totally flipped on its head in that spot on the map. The defenders absolutely had the spawn advantage. New Kings with a very long way to run back, so definitely not enough time for them to reestablish themselves and go for that fight again. They had to go for the full regroup, and now they're recommitted.
All right, the Amp Matrix comes out, as does the Deadeye from Sika, looking to see if they can find anyone, but no. We end up seeing Grathan in the backline trying to see if they can get some picks of their own. Psycho investing the Blizzard as well. Doesn't find the value that they were hoping to, and now we see the Shatter coming in with the Blizzard. The high noon from Grathan, trying to find some value with that bomb, ends up finding Naru in the end, and Sika just trying to see if they can indeed sick them right now and keep this objective in their favor, but it's not going to be enough. They shave that time bank quite a bit, but they're moving into Bravo with a fervor.
Right, I mean, just great commitment there from New Kings, not to just go straight in, but to push, draw out some cooldowns and abilities, and then go for another fight. Kind of a mini disengage right there to make sure that they had all the tools that they wanted and that their plan was clear in their minds. Now New Kings pushing through streets with plenty of tools to work with as they open again with an Amp Matrix. I feel like they've had one every fight.
All right, the Amp Matrix coming out from either side again, but Psycho has the Blizzard this time around, and the cleanup is fierce and not friendly in the least. Lolshish just has free reign to swing and smack every single booty with that big ol' hammer, and with 3 minutes on the clock, we might be heading into final fight territory.
Right, and looking at that time bank, that's insane for Kings Row. They're doing very well, we could say. This is not full hold on Hanamura level well, but it is definitely nothing to sneeze at. It's all some teams can do even to finish Kings Row, and while they're not there yet, they're looking like they're making good time.
All right, the Deadeye finding a nothing but walls and barriers as the Shatter comes out from Lolshish, finds Nico on that payload, but not able to get the cleanup as Benbez takes Lolshish out of the fight, just tired of dealing with those Shatters coming in, and we see the isolation coming in for the members of Young and Beautiful. They're picking off one after the other, separating them one way and another, and that is going to be the cleanup they need. 2 minutes to remain as New Kings look to re-attack.
You know, I like what you did there. They split the team up with a Maywall, so you call it isolation. I thought that was clever. I like that. Totally not intentional, I'm sure, but hey, I take what I can get when it comes to awful puns. Young and Beautiful now establishing a good... I'm not even going to be able to talk. They're already committing again. And again, there's always an Amp Matrix. Both of these flex supports on the Baptiste doing so well here, managing their cooldowns and healing so effectively. Young and Beautiful doing a great job of backing up and doing what they can to maintain their defense.
I'm actually kind of surprised. I thought I was going to see KSA throw that bomb right on up and over, but it doesn't look like they're going to do it. Now they're going to invest it to try to get the remake in. It's going to get nothing but shield, but that might be just what they need. Benbez had to hold that shield up to keep that bomb from getting the picks that they were looking for, but New Kings just moved right on into it. Cruz now trying to see if they can touch that objective and keep it going, but Grathan has them in their sights. 1 minute, 6 seconds. That 6 seconds makes a huge difference when it comes to maps like Kings Row as the New Kings take to the defense.
It absolutely does. It means that in extra rounds, that Young and Beautiful wouldn't necessarily get a chance if they have to finish in overtime. I believe that's how that rule shakes down. New Kings with the convincing attack. Not the 3 minutes I was kind of harping on as we got through the Streets phase push, but despite the 2 minutes of holding there from Young and Beautiful at the end, New Kings finishing with a time bank is still impressive in and of itself and will be a major boon if we start getting into some extra round situations here on Kings Row. Young and Beautiful, I feel like New Kings really just kind of saw everything that they were going to do. Every time Young and Beautiful tried to engage with an Amp Matrix, it was at an angle such that New Kings could back away, completely mitigate the effectiveness of the ultimate, don't give them anything for free, take your time on the fights that you need to win. That is New King's style, much like Young and Beautiful's is that face-rolling Ben Best doing Ben Best things. And when New Kings get to play their game, like they have so far on Kings Row, it's hard to deny that they are the best team in Trials right now. So Young and Beautiful, they got their work cut out for them. It's their time to attack. It's their time to set the pace. Let's see what they can do when they have that attacking option.
Well, we're hearing it over and over again. Exarath just screaming with absolute delight, looking to see if they can lock this down, just make it another Hanamura once again. But I gotta tell you, this is a completely different map with completely different rotations, and Young and Beautiful are incredibly well practiced. We've seen it over the past couple of weeks, and that rotation to the high ground is going to show that they're ready to come in and lay down the law.
Right, and Young and Beautiful looking for the rotation here, trying to see if they can go through the high ground or if it's better to drop to point. They decide for the latter, but the walls coming out mean that they have to kind of step back for just a moment, long enough to reestablish themselves on the point.
That's all right. They're going to go ahead and be able to push them back with Nico holding on to their wall. They're going to be able to take control of the objective without even really putting up much of a fight. First tick, second tick, as we see the feed starting to come in. And now here comes the Amp Matrix. They're looking to feed it on in as the Immortality keeps everybody up. The picks are just lighting up that kill feed right now. Lolshish does end up finding Ben Best in the end, but it's not going to be enough. It's a 1v5 fight, and with the Lolshish getting that long spawn, they won't even have the choke to hold.
No. Young and Beautiful now feels like they're starting to get their footing a little bit. They just managed, they kind of had a New Kings level fight. They took their time with it. It definitely, it took a while for them to kind of establish themselves, but once they walked on the point, they were so established that you saw they got 2 ticks for free. New Kings kind of stumbled. It didn't look like they knew what they wanted to do at all, and that cost them so much. They were forced to recontest. They're like on the back foot. They had no real engagement tools, but now they do. Look at this. Power walking McCree. You love that.
Power walking McCree comes in, but Nico sends in the Blizzard as well to try to zone him out. And now the High Noon coming out from Sika. The power walking McCree on the opposite foot. As we see on the high ground, Exarath and Deirdre trying to see if they can displace some of this team, but the Maywall separates out a majority of them, and there comes the beat and the shatter, looking to clean it all up, but Exarath and Deirdre coming out with the amp and the beat of their own. The shatter comes in huge for Lolshish, and that is going to be a huge cleanup. So much investment, but nothing to show for it from Young and Beautiful.
Right, and an expensive fight on both sides, right? It's pretty even here in terms of the Lucio ultimates. Boombox is a bit ahead, perfectly even on the Shatter so far, and the DPS ultimates are not that far behind each other. That said, Young and Beautiful, they have to reestablish themselves now. It takes extra time for them to get into position, and the whole time they're taking poke, and Grafin looking for the cheeky flank, waiting for the cooldowns to be used. Being sneaky here. Let's see what he can get.
All right, the Deadeye comes out. Naru not seeing it. Ends up getting demexed in the middle of the fight, and we will see the picks just level on in. They were not ready for that flanking Kree. It is not often you see it in the game itself. 3 minutes 15 as New Kings hold the point.
Right, we saw Shoes Money Crew do that a lot. They love those off angles. New King's difference is that they use it so sparingly that it's always a surprise, which is what you want generally when you have a flanking McCree go for a Deadeye. Like you mentioned, Naru wasn't even really aware. Boombox had the presence of mind, but it was not enough to save Naru's mech or the fight.
The trade comes in as the Shatter...
Whoa!
Wow! Drudro lighting up the kill feed with those final blows. One Shatter to rule them all right there as we shave another 45 seconds off that time bank.
Super clean from New Kings there. Looked like just a couple ultimates, and then Dredra deciding to give everyone tinnitus, which is fine. Now they have the Blizzard, which is huge, the Mei, I just said the Mei, the Diva, which has some strong zoning opportunities, and another High Noon from Grafin, which is scary. Both ultimates, though, coming online from Young and Beautiful here, and they're ready to use them.
All right. right, they anticipate the rotation, and the Blizzard is invested for either side, but it looks like Nico's came out last, and BenBest able to get the shatter, but not soon enough to get the follow-up. Naru does end up finding Lolshish amid the chaos, and Boombox with the follow-up on Psycho gives them the picks that they need to get this cart moving once again. But with already 3 minutes shaved off that bank, they gotta move it in, and they gotta move quick.
Right, New Kings have still been doing a very good job on their defense in terms of taking time, but Naru was really the turning point in that last fight, eating the ultimate and then providing some amazing peel since he didn't have to worry about being frozen to death, which is generally a good thing not to have to worry about, I suppose. He gets back into his mech, and now they're engaging again with another Ant Matrix, and Cruz actually layering the support ultimates. Don't know if I'm a fan, but it allows them a super aggressive engage. I do actually like it. Take it back.
There we go, aggression central right now from Young and Beautiful. They are cleaning up this objective and showing that New Kings aren't going to get the touch they were looking for. 2 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock as they move into Point Charlie to look to tie it up.
Yeah, but in addition to the 2.5 minutes, you have to think about the math required to make sure that you have a chance in extra rounds. It's basically just don't finish in overtime, but that's a lot of pressure, and New Kings have the ultimates to make that stall happen.
Oh man, I was breathing there, just looking at all those heads, but nothing is found. The Diva Bomb on the high ground gets nothing but the remake as Rathan does find Sika amidst the chaos. Nico sending out the Blizzard, and it looks like it might be cleanup central for them as Nico just trying to stay alive, trying not to get pooped out by Deirdre. We see the bomb invested by Naru getting the quick remake as we see KSA falling in the mid-fight. They have 45 seconds to push in and try to get it to an even time bank.
Right, they're just going to try and have it as even as possible to make sure they don't lose too much of an advantage, and these opening picks are exactly what they need. They're forcing cooldowns, the Immortality Field's already down, and BenBest getting some great value with Boombox at his side.
Absolutely, the Blizzard is on point, which is going to shave a little bit of time and create a little bit of space. BenBest falling incredibly low. The heals need to come in, and they got to come in quick as we see the picks coming in left, right, and center. Lolshish able to get the shatter up, but gets nothing but wall as we see just the lighting up of the kill feed. 3 second difference. Young and Beautiful towing the line, saying, you know what? You were good, but we were better.
Just barely. That 3 seconds. Grathan swapping to the Widow. I wish we could have seen a little more of that right there at the end, but it's definitely a desperation last fight pick. He did get that kill on Sika. Not that that really mattered, of course. BenBest was the star of that last fight, blocking the shatter, hitting the swings, being where he needed to be, forcing so much attention onto himself, as he is wont to do, not because he's a narcissist, he's just a Reinhardt player, guys, it's fine. Yep. And he did his job, and Young and Beautiful did their jobs there. Everyone playing, I'll go back to it again, playing their game. Those nice aggressive fights to close out that map are what they've been looking for this entire time. It's just they don't always get the opportunity because New Kings are usually so composed, so willing to allow that aggression and rotate around and meet it in the right way. But through that Streets phase, they were always kind of on the regrouping foot, never really able to establish themselves the way they wanted to, which is the perfect storm for Young and Beautiful. They want you kind of disoriented, reeling, dazing, falling over yourself. And now they have the chance to defend a minute 6 on New King's time bank. Whatever they can get in that minute 6 is what they've got and what Young and Beautiful will need to beat. So let's see what they can do as we come out on more of the same that we've been saying.
Now it's going to be interesting to see how this goes down. They got to move quick. They got to try to be aggressive here. Both teams were able to take objective A rather quickly for the most part. As BenBest looking to see if they can catch Lolshish out of position. End up finding extra wrath in instead as the Immortality Field goes down. And the picks just continue to follow up. They are cleaning up this objective, and the Maywall prevents them from moving back into spawn. Sika able to find Grathan at the last moments as they touch the doors with 30 seconds left.
I will point out, it's very important, they did not touch the spawn doors. They were just really close, which is cowardice, BenBest. You were already shoving nerds into lockers. You better just go touch the spawn door. But I respect it. It's the last time they tried that on Lijiang, they fed, and then they kind of lost that, and that wasn't very great. They want to win this here. They want to win this now.
Sika was so close to death right there, and Boombox getting frozen out. It's not a good position to be in. Getting ready to be run down if they're not careful, because we see Grafton lighting up the kill feed right now. Overtime ticking away, and this is what New Kings needed to make happen. They're going to go ahead and grab this objective, but Young and Beautiful have plenty of time to either come in and try to recontest or set up for this chokehold.
And see, Benbest should have touched the spawn doors because they were already overextended, and New Kings already took advantage of it. So you might as well get the symbolic victory. They tried to just back up there and be where they needed to be in time, but it was too much. They were too far forward. Now they're going for the immediate re-engage. What are you going to look at here?
Ooh, they're looking to hold it close and hold it fast as the trade's coming in, and the blizzard is huge. But remember, the spawn advantage favors one team over the other here right now, folks. They got to get it quick and they got to get it fast, because that feed is going to be fierce from the New Kings, and every pick that comes in for Young and Beautiful is going to be a flounder. And now they're coming in. We see Lulchish on the ball as the respawn just continue to touch and touch and touch, keeping that overtime ticking away. But all they got to do is boot them off that point, and Grafton now in with the double kill. That payload is starting to move, and it's not going to be enough. Young and Beautiful going toward that aggressive hold, but maybe they should have let that payload move a couple of meters.
I mean, I respect trying. I respect thinking you have the opportunity, but New Kings, in addition to the spawn advantage, so many opportunities to flex to something fast, right? Lil's just swapping over to that Wrecking Ball, Psycho swapping over to the Doomfist, all made total sense, and now they're right back to where they were, admittedly resetting their ults in the process, but having what they needed in that moment. And that's what you get when your spawn door is right next to the payload. Now, Young and Beautiful have to try and do that again with a more even spawn advantage system.
The boxing ring is set up by Psycho and Nico as the Diva Bomb goes in. Nico and Benbest able to find a couple of picks, but there is a trade on the field. And now it is a 3v5 by 2v5 as Psycho gets a run down. The only one left here, the objective is KSA, and gets obliterated. 74.89 meters through the streets as New Kings look to lock down Objective Alpha.
Definitely the fight Young and Beautiful were looking for, I should say, right when that first point was captured. But importantly, they did try for that fight right outside of the point capture zone. They didn't commit very much to it. So when they came to that fight right here, where we're seeing the cart, they had tons of ultimates to work with and all their abilities, and they were closer to more ultimates because they didn't get anything wonky with their composition. New Kings were definitely facing an uphill battle. It was an overtime push. They knew they had an ult disadvantage. They did pretty well considering how much the deck was stacked against them. 74.89 meters now is the line. Young and Beautiful need to not only capture this first point, but get it 74.9 meters through streets.
And they can make it happen too. They were just as furious on their attack as the New Kings were. But the only advantage that New Kings had was their patience. They waited around that bookstore and were able to take it back from Young and Beautiful in an absolute fury. So Young and Beautiful, they gotta be aggressive, but they gotta be mindful as well. If they want to hold on to that first place spot that they're tied up for, they have gotta take it now.
Yeah, it really all comes down to this. This, by the way, is, of course, match point. If Young and Beautiful do not win here, the series is over. And even if they do manage to pull out the victory, we're going to a map 5. So this is really, the stakes are about as high as they're going to get unless we start drawing a bunch of maps down the line and we get to like map 7. I don't even think that's possible right now. Don't listen to me. What am I even talking about? Boombox building up that Ant Matrix very quickly. Exorath matching him, though. Pretty even on the support line. But the rotations are what's going to make the difference.
The rotation coming out from New Kings ends up finding Sika on the point. Grafton able to get the follow-up there, but the trades have to come in, and they got to come in now. Grafton and Naru able to find those trades, but it looks like New Kings will continue to hold for now. But with Lulchish so far away from the point and 15 seconds remaining, they got to move fast.
They have the time to regroup, and importantly, Naru did not get demeched. He did not get staggered. That would have been disastrous. He would have at least, at best, lost half of a self-destruct charge. Now they have that. Benbest is close to the shatter. Could make something happen. That's their only real advantage here.
All right, the shot! comes in! Lucius is on the ground, and it might be enough for them to hold the KSA. Finds Cruz in the chaos. Rapid with the double kill. The shield was not up and ready for them, and Young and Beautiful just at the edge of victory, getting ready to claw their way back in. Just falls like Icarus flying into the sun, and New Kings take this map and the series 3-1.
Close in many places, but decisive in many more. New Kings so consistently. They got caught out here and there. Every team gets caught out here and there. There are always going to be a fight or two where you have ult disadvantage, where you're just trying to regroup, back up. And sure, Young and Beautiful did a great job of taking advantage of that. But what made the difference was New Kings constantly, consistently being able to pull fights out that maybe they weren't necessarily supposed to win, where they found a little extra value out of a mirrored ultimate, a little more freezing out of a blizzard, or a couple more kills out of a diva bomb. Those little differences are what make the difference when you're all running the exact same heroes in the exact same way, which is a lot of what we saw there. And then in addition to just the mirror matchup, which we could just talk about for ages, is also their willingness to adapt and get a little crazy with it when they needed to. Hanamura there, completely throwing Young and Beautiful off their game. Such a decisive victory on a control map. I mean, it was a full hold, and then they won on their first fight. Like, that is it. Yeah. That is as short as a map gets ever, anyway. So great job from them all the way through, definitively proving to be the strongest team in Trials this month, and showing to those existing Contenders teams as well, you better watch out, because we're coming for you next.
Well, we will see if that's where they're getting ready to lay it down. We're getting ready to finish up here in the EMEA, but we gotta wait for our interviewer, so we're gonna go ahead and take it to a quick break, and we'll be back with that very shortly. Welcome back, folks. We have KSA joining us from the New Kings. Now, KSA, just wow. You had us in stitches, shocked faces over and over and over again, knowing that you were going up against Young and Beautiful today. How much preparation did the New Kings have to lay down to make sure that they ended up on top?
I mean, we kind of scrim them regularly, so we're really prepared for them, for what they do and how they play. Right
on. I want to talk most, I would say, about Hanamura. It was such a decisive map for you guys with such a different composition and understanding of how the game, how you guys wanted the game to go. Is that another thing that you guys had prepared well for in scrims or everything, or did you just decide like, we know this composition is going to throw them off?
We know that we're the best at like these kind of sort of dive comps, so it was a kind of a no-brainer to not go for it.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Through, if I may, is that okay? Okay. Through the week, a lot of teams, we generally ask, like, who are you looking forward to facing? And obviously the trials is pretty much over at this point. But a lot of teams would say that they were looking forward to facing you. Now I get to kind of flip it on its head. Now that you're getting into Contenders as the convincing #1 seed, is there anyone that you're really looking forward to facing off against, or that you're maybe a little fearful of, perhaps?
Nothing fearful really, but I'd really love to play against British Hurricane. I think it would be a very exciting match.
I'm definitely looking forward to that one. I think we all are. Yeah, that would be great.
One way or another, the throwdown is going to be happening, and it's going to be happening soon. Thank you so much for joining us. But just a final question. Anyone that you want to shout out for your decisive victory today?
Psycho. Man's been really good with the walls.
Got it.
You're not lying. You're not lying. All right. Thank you so much, KSA, for joining us. Go enjoy your victory as you head into Contenders.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
See ya.
All right, folks. Woo! This has been an absolutely amazing set of matches today, and I gotta say, I'm kind of beside myself. Something that we expected to happen really didn't turn out the way that we thought it would. A lot of decisive matches in one way, in one direction or another, that just ended up shutting everything down to a way that we could really understand the inner workings of these top four in the EMEA. And I don't know, Thibble. I gotta say, I'm looking forward to Contenders.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think the existing Contenders teams, though they're now all the existing Contenders teams, can definitely look back on this day and learn a lot, right? Assuming that this meta kind of sticks around, these dynamics of the May McCree and the Ryan Diva and everything, these games in particular were such an insight into the strategies and styles that all four of these teams wanted to use. New Kings and Young and Beautiful especially, it really showed like, okay, New Kings really want to play the game this way. Young and Beautiful really want to play the game that way. And when they get to, here's what happens. We obviously saw New Kings more consistently being able to play their sort of style, their more measured but aggressive approach. And here and there, we saw Young and Beautiful get to let Ben Best do Ben Best things, or have Nico just start taking people's heads off on Ilios's May. Like all of those little bits and bobs will come into VOD reviews and scrims and all the practice that these teams need to get into as my camera decides to just completely unfocus. I'm trying to focus here, camera. Come on, focus on me. So some crazy games today, some amazing experiences throughout these past couple weeks of Contenders Trials, but now the big boy games are starting. These guys really need to prep and get under the grindstone because they want to face off against the British Hurricanes and all the other high-level teams waiting for them in Contenders. But it takes work. It's going to take a lot, so I'm excited to watch them grow.
All right, folks, that's the end of it here in the EMEA division. We're getting ready to send it right on across the pond, so do not move away from that seat. We've got some fire matches coming up over in the North American division as we start off with Ardor versus Wisp and Saints versus Obey Alliance. These folks, unlike what we saw here, where it was literally locked in position right now, they are looking to shake up the middle. There's one definitive at the top and one definitive at the bottom, and everything in the middle is just a big old jello set waiting to lock it in from these matches today. So I hope that you stick around to be able to see it happen. Thibble, do you got anything else to shout out before we sign off for the day?
Yeah, I mean, shout out to all the fans watching here. Shout out to all the players, and coaches, and staff, the social media guys, the graphic artists, the illustrators, all the amazing people behind the scenes that make Tier 2 work. Shout out to my camera, apparently, because it's just going to try and steal the show away. But also, just shout out to you who's watching. Like, your support is really what lets all of this happen in the first place. And, you know, these amazing games would be nothing without amazing people to watch them and get hype over them alongside. So we owe you guys a lot. We will never forget that, and we're happy to be here to help you watch these games.
Absolutely. It's been a huge pleasure. A special thank you to Cynthia and Reef on production today, dealing with every issue with a grace and tact that you just love to see at this high level of Overwatch play. We're going to go ahead and send it on over. That's Thibble. My name's Captain Jack, and we'll see you all very soon.